clouds falling away.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Aegis Esports Playoffs Round of 16. I am your Lord Director Hirsch, and I have with me today Boulevard. Boulevard, how you doing today?
I am doing phenomenal, Hirsch. You know, it's December. It's finally we're past Thanksgiving. We're past Halloween, which I'm sad about. But you know what? At least now it's appropriate to have all this Christmas themed stuff going on, this holiday themed whatever. So you know what? I'm in the spirit. It's December 2nd. Let's do it.
I do have to say, I like your hat. Do you know where you got it?
Uh, Probably. You know what? Actually, I feel like you're setting yourself up for something here. So go ahead. Why don't you tell me where you think I got it?
I, I think you got it from the Aegis Esports store that may be coming soon.
Ooh, spicy.
But today it's a new format, new month, new format. We are now out of our best of 3 format. We are now moving into best of 5s. If you're new to the scene, it is a King of the Hill format. Every player plays or may play. Whenever that player is eliminated or they lose, they are done. Once a team is out of players, they have lost, and the enemy team will win. So we have a very spicy match for us today. We have TA Mind Splitters versus TA Boomers today. Our first ever on-stream kill match. How do you feel about that, Boulevard?
It's kind of hard to say because, like, I'm looking at the players between these two teams, and I never would have guessed that they were affiliated with each other in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that, like, it's like a surprising team kill to me, right? Like, if you came to me a couple days ago and you were like, "Hey, are 4LW and Salty Simon teammates?" I would have been like, what are you talking about?" So I don't know. I would have preferred a more like traditional team kill with players that are like maybe a little more associated with each other. But like, I'm always here for the bloodbath.
Yeah, for sure. One thing to know about these teams, they are both, yes, they're both Team Ambition teams. One of them, Mind Splitters being the EU Team Ambition team, also known as REO, and TA Boomers is the Lat M team as well.
I didn't know Sir Termund was Latam. I thought he was United States, but I could
As,
just be wrong on that, or maybe he's just on a Latam team.
as far as I know, he is from Dominican Republic.
Ah, okay.
That's what I've been told. I'm not 100% sure on that though.
Learn something new every day, even if it might not be true.
And also, fun fact: TA Boomers. This was Team or Mind Splitters was their fifth pick on their list. Usually they would put like somebody from their own team at the bottom. They even put BPS below them, which was very stunning to hear. But anyways, let's get on to our decks for the night. Today we have our first deck presented to you by Runeterra AR, 4LW's Katarina Gwen. You want to give us some insight on this, Boulevard?
Yeah, y'all have seen this one before, right? It's been a long meta. It's gone on for quite some time. If you haven't, by some stretch of the imagination, basically what we're looking at here is a rather aggressive, dare I say, tempo-oriented deck. I might get crucified or praised for that. I'm actually not sure these days where the tempo people sort of lie. But essentially, this is an aggressive shell that is playing these very strong one mana removal spells in Quietus and Ravenous Flock that are going to give you a lot of different ways to sort of outplay your opponent on very small mana breakpoints. And of course, you've got all these different combat tricks is what we use to refer to things that you use in combat, sharp sight, and disciplines. What I mean is like additional attack tricks, right? We've got the Katarina rallies, we've got the Ruined Reckoner sending additional units in there. You've got the revive onto the Ruined Reckoner or the leveled Katarina off of like Eternal Dancers or the Harrowing. So this deck does have a lot of very strong surprise factor plays for how straightforward it seems on the surface.
For sure. Uh, what I do like is the tech for adding the Shadow Isle Telstones. From when I played this deck a while ago, you wouldn't run Shadow Isle Telstones, but to have the Gwen or to be able to buff the Katarina to be able to stay alive and even take off Ephemeral still, and also just to be able to save units like Gwen still and whatever you need to save.
Yeah, I think something that really shined in the World Championship qualifiers, where this was the most popular deck, was the one of Mark of the Isle that a lot of players were on. You know, Ephemeral not really interacting with Katarina in a traditional way. She will pretty much always bounce herself and get around that Ephemeral effect. But 4LW deciding that, like, hey, maybe I need a Crumble. Maybe I need a Spirit's Journey for one thing or another. So I'm willing to pay that extra one mana premium if I do just end up going for the Mark of the Isle in order to have a little bit more flexibility in it. And honestly, it's always hard to sort of talk down on a Tellstone in any given deck.
Hmm. For sure. And then on the other side, we have Methonical's Annie Jin. Another very standard deck in the meta. It's a standard burn deck. You have everything to have skills to be able to proc the Jin and Annie as well. And we're still running six of Decimate, or three of Decimate, sorry, and three Noxian Fervor to round it out too. And the interesting tech as well, or the standard tech that people have decided to stray away from, but Methodical's coming back to it and putting in three of Doom Beasts as well.
I'm actually not sure. Like, if I don't know what a standard quote unquote Annie Jin deck looks like, but it is weird to me. This is the first time I've ever seen Annie Jin color coordinated in a way that all of the Jin cards are the same color as Jin. I'm used to looking at this rainbowy mess and trying to discern, what cards I'm actually looking at. I didn't realize per se that there were this few Noxus cards in here, although I guess that's not necessarily true since the ones with abilities are colored like Jin. So now I'm even talking myself into a hole and throwing myself off based on this new color scheme that has been presented to me.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And we also have our match ready to go. We have Methodical taking on 4LW as well, with Methodical bringing Annie Jin, as we discussed, Elise Gwen without the Katarina, and everybody's favorite, including mine from back in the day, Draven Jinx. We got pretty much a full aggro lineup here going up against 4LW's lineup here.
Yeah, and we're seeing a very similar lineup out of Salty Simon. So I guess Mind Splitters came in with this game plan. We have a very good idea of what the meta looks like from the World Championship qualifiers. Obviously, it was in the same meta. That was like the pinnacle of competition. So generally, any crazy text you would have seen would have come out there. And I don't blame players for maybe not experimenting past that phase. 4LW definitely known for bringing out some crazy tech, but if he hasn't really played since the qualifiers, I wouldn't blame him for that. Though Plunder, I don't think that's a deck that was really on either of our radars coming into this, Hirsch.
No, I honestly didn't expect Plunder to come in here as well. I honestly expected Red Gwen because everybody's still bringing Red Gwen. Everybody's still bringing the Zoe Ophelia Seraphine deck, but definitely not Plunder as well. Another deck that I was very surprised to see is this Elise Gwen deck, and not in opting out of the Katarina. That's very spicy to me.
I actually even need to look at this to see if it is okay, yeah, no, this is not like this is not Red Gwen, this is like Spider aggro.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I had to make sure once I saw this because I could not find a good reason not to run the Katarina. And no, we are House Spider, Arachnoid Horror, Frenzied Skitterer, Decimate's back in here. All this Elixir of Wrath is a one of even.
That's crazy. Wow. So we are actually going traditional full aggro here, which is awesome. And we do see the bans coming out through Annie Jin and Katarina Gwen, the decks that we actually highlighted as well. Are you surprised to see that?
Not really. You know, Seraphine is the deck that you kind of want to be picking on if you're playing this full aggro lineup. They tend to be a lot slower, and while they are playing all these different kinds of one-ofs, especially the Aphelios version, you know, they have less Mystic Shot-like abilities than you would in a traditional, sort of more straightforward Seraphine deck from pre-nerf. You know, maybe you take the Aphelios version off the table because you're a little bit worried about like the Severum and things like that, but it looks like they're sticking to the script and saying, no, Red Gwen is the one deck that can race us down. And I really think that even if the Seraphine deck does sort of stabilize off the lifesteal the Aphelios is bringing to the table, you feel pretty confident in 2-0ing Plunder.
I with Spider Aggro, I think Spider Aggro will be fine into the Plunder. I think Draven Jinx might even struggle a bit into Plunder because he's also running one of what's the 5 cost Udyr card?
Oh, Spirits Unleashed?
Yes, he's also
Oh,
running
I love
one of
that card.
Spirits Unleashed too, which is actually really cool.
Oh, this is
But
actually a lot more aggressive and Freljord focused than I kind of expected. It's almost more reminiscent of a monkey deck than it is. And honestly, we probably should have checked to see if this was Freljord monkeys before we just started calling it Plunder, but it is not. I'm checking now, but it is very Freljord heavy. Babbling Beard, Tusk Speaker, Ruthless Raider, the Troll Chant, and the Spirits Unleashed, like you mentioned. So we're actually just forgoing any of the NAB cards at all.
yeah, so this is actually becoming more of a traditional beatdown overwhelm deck now.
Yeah, this is you know, I think I have to take back what I had said about the plunder deck being a little bit easier to pick on. You know, you've got a lot more resilience against a big setup from the Jinx Draven deck if you have access to not just Make It Rain, but the Spirits Unleashed. 2 Parlay in the main going to help out with that a lot. And we're even higher on 1-drops than normal because there's triple Shell Shocker in here.
But we should be getting into the match soon. They just started their ban phase. They just started their ban phase on their end, so we should be in there within the next few minutes too. Um, let's talk about the Zoe Seraphine Aphelios deck real quick. Uh, it's very spicy that he's also bringing 2 copies of Pursuit of Perfection as well in that deck.
A
You
little
don't.
surprised to see the triple Seraphine as opposed to the triple Aphelios, especially from 4LW. I feel like he's a big Aphelios player.
That's true. It's
But
very.
still, okay. I'm like going through this. You know, it's kind of hard to like eyeball any specific tech cards, but there is a Chump Wump in here.
Yeah, and it's also just a one of too. I guess
Yeah.
we only need the one of just to be able to proc the Seraphine. Oh
Well,
wait,
I've seen.
Mushroom Cloud is only 1 cost.
Yeah, I've seen Clump of Wumps in here before. The 2-mana one that gives you 1 Mushroom Cloud. I have not seen Chump Wump, which gives you 2 Mushroom Clouds. Because what are you really doing with that second one? Or are you actually thinking that putting 10 shrooms into your opponent's deck is worth it in something like a Seraphine Mirror where they're going to be drawing a bunch of cards?
Yeah, but do they normally run Trail of Evidence too? I don't feel I feel like I've never seen Trail of Evidence in this kind of deck.
I've seen it, but not often.
And we're finally into game with Spider Aggro coming up against the Zoe Ophelia Seraphine deck. Right now, I hope Methodical kicks one of the Frenzy Skitters. I hope he's just kicking the whole or pretty much everything but the Frenzy or the Precious Pet. Right now, we're actually looking pretty well stacked on
Oh,
Methodical
wow.
side. Yeah.
I mean, the Duskbringer is going to do a little bit, but because 4LW actually has first action here, I think this is going to tip Methodical into, rather than playing out the Legion Rearguard, we're going to start off with a Precious Pet, probably into a Precious Pet and an Onlooker on the following turn. Okay, I thought Methodical might actually take that block to slip through the Rearguard on the following turn, but if you're going triple Fearsome, you know, you're not really expecting your opponent to develop a blocker here.
Yeah.
So
And even drawing the Seraphine too, it's not even gonna help. We're actually pushing 8 damage on turn 2.
this probably has to be a Naked Pale.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's right. You can reduce spell cost with Dusk Petal Dust now. Okay, this is actually pretty good for 4LW, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
You cannot hold us
And
down.
by that, I mean
We
this
will
very
resist
specific
until
interaction.
we will
From here on out, it
We
gets
will
extremely rough as Methodical is going to throw down those 2 more rear guards and then just kind of swing it home from here. And right now, 4LW
Pretty much.
really debating. Probably, are all the players able to talk with each other throughout this set, I assume?
No, all the other
Oh.
players on the team, they are in their own group call, while these 2 players are in their own separate call. So
Okay.
everybody's allowed to watch these 2 players play.
But not talk.
Exactly.
All right, so 4LW takes a little bit of extra damage there in order to leave around the onlooker so that Seraphine can block it on a future turn, since it won't have that permanent fearsome, but I think that's going to work out better for Methodical, who's going to continue to go extremely wide here.
Oh my gosh, yes. Methodical's actually in a really comfortable spot right now. He has everything pretty much he needs laid out for him for the rest of the game right now.
That said, I mean, 4LW is not going to take an insane amount of damage on the following turn. Okay, yeah, we're just going in. That makes sense. The rear guards can't block. You want to trade off these 1-2s if you can. Play with the health pool of the Seraphine a little bit.
Do we put damage into Seraphine right now? I don't think we have to.
We don't have to. 4LW really loving this Quinn mode.
For sure. I'm trying to figure out like what 4LW has to do to be able to get out of this spot, and we're opting not to trade.
I think 4LW is actually in an okay-ish spot. Okay, with the 1-drop top deck, it does get a little bit more rough. That is an activator for the Doom Beast on this turn, as well as an additional attacker, because what 4LW had going for them was kind of like, yeah, you can double block and then get excited. You're only taking 2 damage that turn. You're cleaning up a little bit of the board, maybe pushing some damage onto your Seraphine, but your hand is actually looking pretty good in terms of spells, and I seriously doubt 4LW is going to die before the back alley bar turn, but because that is going to be Methodical's attack turn, you know, it kind of depends on if they go for another open attack, and with how few cards they're getting down to in hand, I think it's very likely that that will be the case a couple turns down the line.
And also, we have a way to actually reduce a lot of the damage that we're taking. We have Mystic Shot in hand, and we have the 2-mana burst spell to be able to develop, or to be able to have another Fearsome blocker as well.
Yeah, man, this Precious Pet top deck from Methodical was so good to really develop the Doom Beast pre-combat in a meaningful way, get a couple of additional attackers on board, because the open attack was looking manageable. Now, I don't know if 4LW is going to be able to withstand all of this.
I'm trying to do the math here real quick. 2, 5, 7.
I think he's down to 6. If you block both 3 attack units and Mystic Shot the Doom Beast, you go down to 6, and then you're down to 2 off the Decimate.
You spurn my gift.
Yeah, he's
Ooh.
actually he's down to 5.
Yeah, actually not going to take the chump block here. Going to play for the board instead, which makes sense, but I am a little critical of the Mystic Shot onto the rear guard rather than the Doom Beast.
If 4LW is not able to develop a unit here, Methodical actually has the game.
Yeah, and it looks like that is going to be the case, depending on what we find on this star chart. A couple of blockers. Still more units to be played on the side of Methodical. Aftershock still available this turn for 4LW. Get Excited next turn. Might actually be able to stave off all this unit damage.
Is there any world that we get
Oh,
excited?
never mind. We no longer have the Aftershock because we played the Charger. Take it back.
Is there any world we get excited now? Oh man, this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all for 4LW. I think this might actually be the game.
Let's see what we can find here. High Note. There's no way High Note's going to be active already. Are we... Okay. Got the High Note queued up. Might have a Get Excited queued up as well. But that would really tap out 4LW to a point where Methodical is probably going to feel safe going for this copy.
High Note is active.
This
4LW is living. He's actually living.
This is the turnaround.
We get excited the Precious Pet here.
Yeah. Get Excited to stop the Fervor. Decimate puts us at 1. It's a tricky position, but an Aphelios top deck could get 4LW back out of range of any kind of burn. Board is going to be clear. No Imperial Demolitionist top deck available. No Fervor top deck available. 4LW just needs to use the Get Excited here.
There it is. The only we either have to top deck another Decimate or we draw Gwen here. If we draw Gwen here, I think that the game is pretty secured.
Methodical probably just fires off this Decimate here, right?
Yeah,
There's no real
for
reason
sure.
not to, and you do want to put your opponent at 1, like you said, in case you top deck a second copy. Although this does sort of take away the Doom Beast top deck, sort of really the only consideration to hold that back, and it is going to be an Noxian Fervor instead, and now the back alley bar gets to come down, and the healing!
Oh no! 4LW is actually holding on by a thread right now.
Oh, it's not enough to get through a Decimate, but Methodical doesn't have that yet. They've got... Oh, and the Doom Beast!
Oh no, Methodical!
Methodical still has some time, you know, can go ahead and pass here. They're not really in danger of dying anytime soon. And 4LW, are they is this going to be the progress day?
Oh man, it is. He has to refill.
Oh man. And there's no way for Methodical to punish, and of course the 4-mana is still available for the Catalyst of Aeons, but...
And we have the 1-mana Aphelios too!
Yeah. It's gonna come down to sequencing here. A second
Oh,
Decimate off the top should secure
that's what
it!
we needed!
I hate burn so much. Just all the 1-drops in the early game into all of the burn when you're in top deck mode means Methodical is going to be able to pick this up over 4LW. The Decimate right here on this interaction will secure the game. No time to play the Severum. And 4LW going to fall here in game number 1 to the traditional Spider aggro.
Wait, does he have anything?
Guiding Touch? No Guiding Touch.
He needed the one Guiding Touch. Oh wait! Oh,
Unspeakable
Horror!
I don't think it's enough though, because 4LW still has to play the Severum and have that resolve, and then Doom Beast just gets to come down.
This is also true.
So it was a nice thought to be able to hang on for just a moment here. But it is still not enough against what Methodical is packing. And even if somehow 4LW was able to make it to the combat phase, Noxian Fervor dodges the lifesteal and kills the Nexus.
We have... Wait. Oh, wait, yeah, even if we urgent here and try to find the Guiding Touch, it's still not going to matter either.
No, Methodical just has everything, and we just have to wait for him to actually get the priority sequences back into his corner so that he can play everything out.
This first match, what an actual banger still.
I don't know that I'm comfortable applying the banger tag to any game involving Spider aggro.
Hey man, as an aggro enthusiast, I love to see Spider aggro evolve.
How do I always end up with these aggro enthusiasts?
Hey man, I didn't hit rank 1 on aggro for nothing, man.
I mean, that's more rank 1s than I've hit in Legends of Runeterra, so I guess I gotta give you that one.
And we're going on to game 2 here with Draven Jinx versus either Zoe, Seraphine, Aphelios, or the Gangplank Sejuani, the non-plunder one version.
Yeah, I don't even know what to call it. It's closer. I mean, it's not monkeys. It's closer to plunder than it is monkeys, but it is not the NAB version that we're sort of traditionally used to seeing. It is this Spirits Unleashed, you know, sort of nonsense, I guess is the best way that we're going to describe it for now. But I gotta say, I am happy to see Spirits Unleashed picking up some play. You know, it was played a little bit in the qualifiers in a couple of different lists. There was that Jinx Spirits Unleashed deck running around on ladder for a little bit. And this is a lot of 1-drops on the side of 4LW in the opener. This is looking pretty good.
Methodical has to kick this whole hand. I think this hand is just not it for him right now. And he just opts to kick Poro Cannon. We're still We got the jury rig. We're still okay to be able to develop and still trade into this.
It's
Yeah, there is a lot of 3 damage removal in 4LW's list, more than I think you'd even normally see with the Sump Fumes Get Excited, 2 copies of Piltover and Hellstones to get you the Aftershocks and things of that nature, but nothing in here deals 4. So as long as that Jinx is coming down leveled or can level in response to the removal, 4LW actually is going to have a little bit of a tougher time dealing with that.
And with Methodical not able to really push face here, he's actually in a tough spot right now. Not being able to push face early on just discard aggro like this is really, really rough. But we do have all the tools we need for crowd favorite in the pretty much the next turn if we wanted to.
Yeah, I imagine, you know, whether you play out the jury rig or you rummage it, I think is sort of the debate that's going to come up in Methonical's mind here if they can draw another good discard target. As I don't think you're really too willing to give up either the Jinx or the Arena Battlecaster. So it might just be the jury rig into the crowd favorite, but 4LW does have a Frostbite spell for that in the immediate, and I always call the Unforgiving Cold Caught in the Cold, but we finally have Caught in the Cold in the hand of 4LW.
Wait, there's also another one. I forgot. It's a 0 mana spell. I think that's the one that cat or Frostbite's on the next turn.
Oh man, there's so many weird, irrelevant Frostbite spells that have come out that Seraphine can generate.
Exactly.
Crackling Ice is the one that Frostbites at a round start, and then what's the one that deals 4 if something's already frostbitten? Shatter.
Oh yes, I forgot about Shatter. No one's played Shatter in so long, and we're
Did
off.
they ever?
No, I don't even think they did. Actually, I wouldn't know. I didn't play in beta when the card first came out.
Lunari, rise.
But we're opting to swing wide with all of our 2/1s here. I imagine that we're gonna. Oh, we're changing our mind here.
I mean, I like the push from 4LW. You know, you want to be trading board going into that crowd favorite turn. Yeah, Methodical just going to have to take this entire board, which really does signal to 4LW that, yeah, the crowd favorite's coming down.
Yeah.
There's not a great answer that you have for it in the immediate.
I feel like we have to jury rig in the crowd favorite here. I feel like that's the right call.
Yeah, I think the axes from Draven will fuel the rummage a little bit later on when you need them, and if 4LW gets a single chance, they're probably going to throw off that Time Winder into a couple of 1/1s, so yeah, with 5 wide, we're going to see the 7/6 Vaseed come down, and 4LW,
man.
do you want to use this Frostbite spell or not? It's really the only sort of consideration you have here, I feel.
I feel like he needs to. It's either... Oh, wait, we don't even have the transform or have access to the transform card yet. We still need... We're 2 mana short.
Yeah, I think that's sort of 4LW's potential game plan here, right? Is you Frostbite the Vaseed this turn, and then when it comes back around to the next attack turn, then yeah, you can go ahead and transform it into a House Spider or anything like that. Take a little bit of the winds out of its sails, but instead, it's going to be another 1-drop, and that means that the full damage is going to come through. This is probably a Seraphine block from 4LW in that case.
We pretty much full block everything but the crowd favorite, I think. I feel like we're comfortable taking 7 here.
Yeah, 7, you know, on turn 4, being at 13 against a deck that doesn't play Decimate, not the scariest thing in the world, I say, as I check to see if they just run Decimate in their Jinx Draven.
No, they
who knows, they
don't!
might. Okay, they don't.
That's actually... Why are we opting out of not putting Decimate? I feel like...
it's hard to empty your hand with Decimate in the deck.
That's also true. That's also true now that I think about it.
You leave me no recourse.
Okay,
But-
a little
but-
bit of a different line of blocks here. Actually going to take, or rather push a
Oh,
little
we're
bit of damage.
opting to Time Winder here. That's also actually a fine line too.
Yeah, and this is going to set up the crowd favorite for the Aftershock, actually.
We will be free.
But if Aftershock goes at crowd favorite, Aftershocks isn't going at Jinx.
This is true. We're only on 1 of Tellstones, right? No, we're on two Tellstones. But we
Yeah.
do have the option to take it or to pick it back up. Are we discarding?
Oh, Equinox!
Oh, Equinox! Do we ever Equinox the crowd favorite at this point, or do we just rip Aftershock?
I think that with how many cards Methodical has in hand, you can make the educated assumption that it's going to be a while before you have to worry about a level Jinx, so you can probably take aim at an unleveled one, depending on how early they throw it down. It looks like 4LW is going to take the Equinox, and now the question is just, it's got to be the silence onto this, right? The only real silence targets in this deck are the Arena Battlecaster and the crowd favorite.
This is
And
true.
you really only get the one crowd favorite down in most games. The board has been cleared. Mythonical, very unlikely to build it back up into a point where you get a very threatening Visage. So probably going to see this Equinox come down with the crowd favorite, save the Aftershock for something a little more threatening. Maybe even throw it at this Draven.
But one thing that 4LW has to be aware of, or he's not aware of, is that we have an augmented experimenter in hand right now. So we have free access to level this Jinx on curve still. Or actually not on curve, it's on turn 7 that we could do this.
Yeah, but oh man, no answers from 4LW for the Jinx once she does come down.
And the Aftershock coming out for the Draven.
4LW's playing this one pretty close to the chest. He's got a couple of random card generators still.
Picking up another augmented experimenter. I assume we caught in the cold here? We caught in the cold the Jinx? No, we're bar keeping. And we're generating Sinister Poro.
Oh man, there are some bad cards in Legends of Runeterra, and there are some legitimately unplayable ones in terms of what you can get off the barkeep because it is any card in the game. But at least this one's a blocker, I guess.
It's something we could throw into the crowd favorite.
And okay, it looks like we're going for the Jinx level, yes. I was trying to figure this out. I'm like, okay, why are we axing instead of discarding 2 cards? But that wouldn't have worked, so we are just going to rummage. It's going to give us this Super Mega Death Rocket immediately. Clear out 1 blocker.
Wait, if we actually rummage here, picking up 2 cards still would have flipped the Jinx.
You had 4 cards in hand, so rummage and discard 2 leaves you with 1. So you had to axe something to get 2 out of hand, and then rummage 1 card.
Oh,
I was confused by it at first
yeah,
as well.
Yeah, now I see it. Now I see it. This is actually big. This is actually swinging the game back in Methonical's favor right now.
Yeah, Reggie's got to do some heavy lifting here. I mean, Hexbliterator is in the pool. Sunburst is in the pool. 2 draws from the Jinx, and some pretty okay ones at that. What spells have been played by Mythonical this turn that we're getting off of this Spell Thief here? Hexbliterator is offered.
If it's a people problem, I'm your man.
Wait, can we pull the Jinx Rocket from Spell Thief?
You absolutely can.
Oh man. This is picking up the Jinx Rocket here actually would be huge. Because Mythonical, he's gonna want to go wide here.
Yeah. And there's still a little bit more digging to be done out of Mythonical. Let's see what we can draw here. Jury Rig, not the best hit.
No, not at all. Caught in the Cold has to come out here, right? Yeah.
Finally getting used out of this Frostbite spell. Applying Vulnerable as well, so that is going to take the Risen Rider out. And that really reduces the amount of damage Mythonical can push on the following turn. Do you really want to sacrifice this Flame Chompers just to push 2 damage, or do you want to trade with the Reggie? I think trading with the Reggie is a little bit of a better line. Okay, a good top deck for both players, actually.
And we're able to just redevelop our whole board here on Mythonical side.
Seraphine coming down. I believe that's at 6 out of 9. Hunt the Weak.
Oh,
really never going to get a chance to play it again, at least not for value. You just kind of have to gamble it on your next priority sequence once Mythonical has a card in hand.
We're playing the Spell Thief here. What do we got? We got Super Mega Death Rocket. I feel like
that is going to wipe Mythonical's board.
Oh, how the turns have tabled.
That is rough.
So, Flame Choppers has to pull the Seraphine here if we're actually going to attack. I don't think we should.
No, probably not. You are getting kind of low here, though. You probably even just need this Flame Chompers as a blocker at this point.
We can't... Do we really need to generate another Axe here? If we generate another Axe here and we top deck a Rummage, we have a chance to actually refill our hand someone and dig for another Jinx.
Yeah, and you already have discarded, 2 of your 3 augmented experimenters, I think is a really big push against Methodical in this stage of the game. Arena Battlecaster, but I imagine 4LW fires off the Hunt the Weak immediately and just gambles on their opponent top decking a unit.
He is. And we're flipping Seraphine too on top of that. Man, this is just not looking good for the side of Methodical right now.
No, and now they have to make a decision, do you want to axe the Flame Chompers so that Reggie is more dissuaded to attack, or do you just let this go and hang on to the axe? This is going to push Methodical down to maybe 4, maybe 6. We'll see how they want to play the blocks here.
I feel like he's going
It's gonna hurt for you.
We're pushing Draven into Reggie?
Getting the additional axe? I mean, it's not like Draven can attack anytime soon. I'm not sure that I really mind this play.
We have to top deck a Rummage here.
Rummage, Experimenter, Jinx isn't bad off the top either. We'll get a Rocket, but we'll also immediately get hit.
There's the Rummage!
There's the Rummage! Okay, but get excited off the
Oh,
top
for
for
the
4LW! Down to 2 mana thanks to the bar, and that is just gonna be lethal.
Oh, man. I feel like that you had to get a win on this deck, against this deck, because playing against the GP Sedge is going to be rough for Draven Jinx, I think.
Especially the version that 4LW is bringing, a lot more 1 damage board wipes than you traditionally see out of something like that. So get excited. Gonna take it down here, and like you said, it's not looking as smooth as you would have wanted for Methodical in the next game. It is, of course, still very doable. I would still argue that this is probably favored for the discard aggro, but discard aggro is such a volatile deck, Hirsch. So feast or famine.
Exactly. Not being able to get everything that you need, basically, not being able to drop a 1-drop on 1, it just feels so bad in that deck. Just in any aggro deck in general, it's just so rough.
And it's, I feel like Boomers actually were fine taking this matchup. Maybe had the read that Mind Splitters were going to bring aggro, as we see 4LW's decks loaded up on a few more 1-drops. That Shell Shocker, exactly what I wanted to talk about here. Definitely more 1-drops than you would see out of a traditional Plunder list.
Keeping the Make It Rain on against his deck is actually massive. We have a better hand for the side of Methodical this time around, with being able to Urchin our Flame Chompers right off the bat.
And those Flame Chompers, I think, are going to be really important in potentially dodging the Make It Rain onto some of the more key units, but we'll see how that actually ends up playing out as things go down the road. And 4LW actually electing not to attack with the Shell Shocker, going to let Methodical build up a slightly bigger board getting into this crowd favorite turn. And Rummage actually a perfect top deck to make the dream work.
But we're opting for the House Spider right now. I think do we gamble to Make It Rain right now? I feel like it's not a bad idea.
I imagine 4LW is waiting to see how Methodical takes the attacks here.
We put the Shell Shocker in front of the Urchin for sure.
It is scary to Make It Rain here when you can just pass and Spirits Unleashed next turn.
Oh, this is also true. I always forget about Spirits Unleashed. I always do. Spirits Unleashed into Make It Rain is actually really good value here.
As long as 4LW doesn't pass. I think 4LW has to do something here. And it's just going to rip the Spirits Unleashed.
Oh, man. He's establishing his dominance early right now.
The question now is, does 4LW follow it up with a parlay? Because Methodical does have a very good Rummage into crowd favorite. If these units still stick around, you'll get down to 6-5. And that's something that 4LW is just shy of being able to trade with on that 4-2 Ruthless Raider now available.
I feel like we hold the parlay till next turn just to be able to stack GP and Sedge. Because those are still great tools for us right now, and we're a little bit behind tempo to be able to drop GP or Sedge on turn on curve if we were to draw them. We're at 1 of 5 right now, I believe, right?
Yeah, that is one of the weird things about Plunder is when you see it played at the highest level, they always play like they're gonna draw GP or Sejuani on curve. Like you'll see warning shots fired off in the first few turns, no Plunder triggers obtained for it, and then 9 times out of 10 they do just draw the champion on curve, and you're like, okay, all right, I guess.
Exactly.
But like you said, you just got to play for the leveled champ, and now we're going to see Shell Shocker come in, offer up a trade going into the crowd favorite turn, knowing that there is an axe and some potential discard units like this Jury Rig, like this Flame Chompers, that can get us to a 4-wide 6-5.
I like
Methodical just going to take the trade.
this trade a lot. It denies make it rain value here.
You hoping they'll die
The nice
of boredom?
second Spirits Unleashed value. Here.
Also true. But they never have the second copy ever, right?
Never, never.
I feel like this is now we're actually starting to get into the turns where 4LW is going to start getting comfortable here.
You can't 5-4 crowd favorite, right? Not with a hand
No.
that looks like this.
Never.
Oh, we might be. We might just be.
Oh man.
It's not as much value as you want, but you are left with Rummage and a couple of good discard targets. 4LW does have a blocker that can trade with this, but you are still going to take a little bit of damage, and honestly, it could just get pulled to the side and 10 shoved into your chest.
Yeah, we're actually taking 10. If we develop here, we're actually taking 10.
Yeah, I think 4LW, man, the weird part about this is that if you let Methodical go to attacks and then you play the Eye of Nagaboros, it's still only a 3-3, even with the Spirits Unleashed buff, so it's not trading onto the crowd favorite. It's not, doing anything to the Draven either. It is a little bit tempo inefficient, but it will set you up for a nice parlay at the very least. Probably your best bet at, not taking a crap ton of damage here.
This is extremely risky to do, but... Oh, he actually just opened passes here. I feel like we could have taken the risk of parlaying the Draven and ripping Make It Rain.
Yeah, I guess this is just going to be the safer eye in combat to finish up the parlay onto the crowd favorite.
Yeah, this actually does work out too. And we have such a great setup for next turn with Warning Shot into Jagged Butcher as well.
Does 4LW just fire off Make It Rain at the start of the turn to see how that works out?
I like gambling a lot. I always take that risk. It always works out for me. I never miss, and we're actually doing it.
Oh, and we miss.
Oh.
We've got the parlay for the follow-up. It's not going to be the end of the world, and you can still even develop a Jagged Butcher once it is all said and done. But, not hitting the crowd favorite. Now you have to make a choice with this parlay.
Wait, I missed it. We actually ripped Warning Shot last turn just to stack.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually not a lot of Plunder triggers in this deck. It is really just Jagged Butcher.
Now it's actually starting to look better. It's starting to look even more better to stabilize with 4LW now that he even has a Mirai Warden as well.
Oh, but Methodical has the nasty combo of the Augmented Experimenter plus Vision.
Oh, true. We can actually...
These Flame Chompers aren't going to be able to kill anything with the Vision because of the Spirits Unleashed, and a Challenger Poro pulled as a 2-2.
Oh my gosh.
I think Methodical is actually debating axing the Vision here in order to trade with this so that you can fire the Experimenter elsewhere, which honestly, if you're just going to discard your entire hand to the Experimenter next turn, yeah, you miss out on the extra attack on the Experimenter and the Jury Rig unless you also cast that here. And I think that's why we're seeing Methodical go into the tank a little bit. And yeah, this is a really big setup for the Axe in Division play.
This is actually big here. We're able to swing tempo back into our favor on Methodical side.
And I think this is telegraphing an open attack from Methodical if they clear the board, pulling it back, debating, hey, I want to get as much Experimenter value as possible. I think I do like the trade into the open, but it really is not a lot of damage. And when your opponent is this low, you're really starting to see red, and you're like, yes, I can close things out. I can beat this seasonal champion 4LW and stay alive for my team in this Iron Man style format. And Methodical deep in the tank, but starting to run out of time here and going to choose not to take the trade.
I feel like that's the right move. We Experimenter here on the Mirai Warden. Oh, but we drew Jinx!
Oh man, nothing will potentially change your mind quite like top decking Jinx.
You can see that with just the straight up open attack. It changes the whole game here.
Oh man, and if this open attack goes through, which it won't, there is a make it rain, then maybe Methodical actually does fire off the Experimenter to look for that get excited to try and finish things off. But if this make it rain hits Draven, we are in a world of trouble on Methodical's side. Or at least things are going to slow down a lot, and 4LW actually has quite a bit of development to throw down this turn.
The ideal hit here is Draven, the Scrap Scarab? Is it Scrap Scarab? Or
I
Scrap
thought it was
Beetle?
Scrap Heap Scrounger, but that might be a different card.
I think it might be a different card, but if we hit Fate... Oh my... We win!
Oh! It is a Scrap Scuttler. Scrap Heap even a card? Okay, Scrap Heap is a card name, but that's it. Nothing past that.
Oh, missing that Draven is so rough.
Oh, but we can level Jinx now!
Oh, this is also true!
This is such a disaster for 4LW. All Methodical has to do is empty their hand next round, and they're going to get another rocket and end the game. End the match!
Oh, man. How everything has turned so far. Like, this match has just gone back and forth.
The scary part no, there's not even a scary part, right? Because Monster Harpoon was nerfed to be 4 mana after a Plunder trigger.
We still have a chance here, I think. Yeah, we still have a chance. If we top deck Monster Harpoon here, we're fine.
If there's no Rummage or Poro Cannon or fast/burst speed way for Jinx to empty the hand on the next turn, that is.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking.
So we see the Super Mega Death Rocket coming down, gonna clear the Mirai Warden. Push 4 damage to face right now.
Down to 1 on 4LW side, which is extremely scary in a situation like this, because with Jinx on board, that means there are 5 Get Excited in Methodical's deck.
Yes, but we have nothing to... Oh, wait, we draw 2 with Jinx now.
Yeah,
so
you
we
draw 2.
Oh, man.
Okay, there are a lot of things that you can activate at burst speed here.
Battlecast?
That is not one of them, and the second one is also not one of them. But the top deck not quite there for 4LW, and not really putting enough pressure on the board to force Methodical to block with this Jinx. This is just going to be the series, I believe, going to 4LW, or Methodical rather. So used to 4LW winning that, I just
Fair enough.
cashed a lot of 4LW in my time. A lot of W's going to that LW.
Yeah, and 4LW realizes that he can't get the win out of it, and the 2-1 is going straight to Methodical. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Methodical is still staying in.
Yes.
Now, TA Boomers have to pick another player. It's either going to be Sonic or Sir Turmund, but the longer they draw this match out, the more tired Methodical is going to be. Methodical has to have a strong mental and a strong will to be able to push through this.
Does he? It's only 3 rounds.
I mean,
I feel like if you don't have the mental to get through 3 rounds, you should find a new hobby.
But the longer you go, the more pressure you're putting onto these people as well.
That is true. There is the sort of external pressure aspect of like, hey, don't let us down, man.
Exactly. And with that, I think we're going to cut it to a quick break. We will be back within the next few minutes here with our next matchup as soon as we know it. Don't go away. back, everybody, to Aegis Esports round of 16 to the kill match between TA Boomers versus TA Mindsplitters. Now, we had such a roller coaster of a match between Methodical and 4LW, with Methodical coming out on top, taking the 2-1. It was wild to watch. How did you feel about that, Boulevard?
I didn't feel good about watching Spider Aggro win, if I'm being honest. I mean, there were some crazy games, but the lines that Methodical drew in that Spider game are going to haunt me and probably 4LW until our dying days. But, you know, it is nice to see Jinx Draven back in the mix. We didn't really get to see a lot of it at the WCQ, even though Jinx has been recently buffed to getting that rocket on level up. So, yeah, you know, I'm honestly, I was kind of hoping for a short match, so I'm team Methodical right now. And even if he loses, I hope they put in Simon next, who is running the exact same lineup, and we can wrap this up and get on with our day.
You know, you said earlier, like, expecting Simon to bring aggro. Just this team, it seems like they're more of an aggro focused team. So, like, bringing the decks that they brought, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised now that I think about it.
No, not really.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the deck that we are highlighting, brought to you by Runeterra AR. It's going to be Sir Termin's BWSI Go Hard. This is a deck that I have not seen since I first started playing the game back when Go Hard released. It is a deck that is near and dear to my heart because it's actually the first deck that I ever crafted in the game. I absolutely miss one mana pack your bags. I know it's a controversial opinion, but I don't care. Bring back one mana pack your bags, please. I miss this card so much. But to see it brought back and updated to the meta right now, it's very interesting. We're teching in Darker and Harpoon just to be able to cycle through more to be able to get Go Hard. We now have access to Burgeoning Sentinel as well with Ladros and Fortune Croaker for more draw, and even Pool Shark for even more draw as well. And even teching in Heavy Metal to deal with all the other weapons that somebody may bring. And also, I have Nagakiboros for cycling and also developing a unit on top of that. What do you think about this deck?
So we saw this at the EMEA WCQ. It actually made it all the way to the final round. I believe it even played for the 5th place win-in into the World Championship. It was very close to making it. And yeah, I was impressed by sort of the bevy of new cards that have been given to update this list since, like you said, we last saw it in like January of 2021 when Go Hard, or when Pack Your Bags rather, was nerfed down to 1 mana. Heavy Metal and Quietus means that you have some of the most weapon destruction of any deck in the game right now, which, you know, not going to do that much in this matchup. There's not really any Vayne or anything like that on your opponent's side, so you're not getting the maximum value out of something like that. But I think that Eye of Nagakiboros, Quietus, Dark and Harpoon, these are all phenomenal updated cards for a list like this. The one problem, or maybe a couple of problems that I kind of have with it is, you know, we're not as focused on zapping into the Go Hard as we used to be. You actually have a lot of 2 mana or lower spells. If we count it up, I think it's actually 14 cards that are available to zap Sprayfin. So you don't have as consistent of a way to get the Go Hard every single time to get into the pack. But, you know, with Eye of Nagakiboros coming in, with the Dark and Harpoon coming in, with this additional draw power, maybe it just doesn't mean as much.
I feel as a person that played a lot of Pirate Aggro with Zap in it, I felt really bad just cluttering my deck with spells that Zap could possibly tutor and broadening that pool. I felt like when I needed to pull that Noxian Fervor. It just felt so nice, and just throwing in other cards to clutter it, just drawing what I don't need in that moment. It just felt really bad. So I don't know how that's gonna feel with this deck now, especially since we're able to pull things like Glimpse Beyond, Heavy Metal. I feel like just those three 2-cost spells in Vile Feast as well. I feel like those are going to be fine as pulls as well.
There's also no Make It Rain in here, which I know was a debate amongst TF Go Hard enthusiasts when it got buffed back to 2 mana from 3. It's like, hey, do we feel like diluting the zap pool with the Make It Rain? But going up against something like Spider Aggro, not having access to either that or Withering Wail is going to be a big downside. And actually, we were very critical of the Withering Wails that were in the EMEA list as we saw them clunk up the hand, but in this matchup, they'd actually be phenomenal.
And going on to the ban phase, once again, we have Sir Termin taking on Methodical, and Sir Termin bringing Feel the Rush, Heimer Jace, and all in the Elise TF deck that we talked about earlier. This is actually a very scary lineup for Methodical to go against, in my opinion. Heimer Jace is going to be a rough deck to play against. It's either you draw the perfect hand or you're just going to be losing that match because Heimer Jace is just going to be able to outvalue and outtempo you.
And I think you have to leave the Heimer Jace up here, right? The ban, in my mind, really has to be aimed at Field of Rush, Avalanche, and Bladed Ravines, or especially an Avalanche into a Bladed Ravine, just completely crushes some of your decks like Discard Aggro and Spiders, depending on the kind of setup that you have. The fact that Avalanche can come out before the crowd favorite means that, yeah, there are some hands where an Avalanche is an auto game win for that deck. So with no Withering Wail in the TF Go Hard, with no Withering Wail in the Jace Heimer, I think you have to go for the deck with all the sweepers in it since you are running all of these 1 HP units.
I agree. It's like Bethonical is going to be put in a really tough spot with this lineup. He's going to be put to the test right now, and we see the Annie Jin and the BWSI coming out.
Oh, what? Whoa. Okay, Methodical, you want to ban the TF Go Hard?
Wow,
I did not see that coming.
I didn't either. I feel
I'm-
like I feel like Methodical is putting himself in a corner right now.
There is a Withering Wail in this FTR list. Like there are more sweepers than you would reasonably expect in just about anything, and maybe hoping that your opponent just doesn't find those. But I feel like this is a very volatile matchup for Methodical, and maybe we're just looking to lose this one quick. Maybe we're looking to 2-0 the Heimer Jace, so it doesn't matter. But I mean, like you said, it's going to be rough no matter what deck you do end up banning here. I'm not surprised to see the Annie Jin banned. It is the one that is most resilient to what we are doing on the side of Sir Termund. But man, is Methodical going to struggle here?
Yeah. Oh man. I feel like he might be able to squeeze out a win with Elise Gwen as long as he's able to pull a Gwen. If he's able to pull a Gwen, I think he'll be able to maybe squeak out a win. But Draven Jinx is going to be near impossible in my opinion.
Yeah, there's really just so many tools for Sir Termund, but again, it is going to come down to, how he actually ends up drawing. There's a reason that even though we look at these matchup tables and say, okay, yeah, this one's like 80-20 or whatever, there is a reason that you play it out. So you can find that 20%. And Methodical really just needs to not get tilted in champ select here and still play the best game that they can. Jinx can still be the thing that you ride home for a victory in these control matchups. It's not all about the crowd favorite and the early big board. Yes, if you get swept up, maybe you can still squeak it out. We are on 3 copies of the Augmented Experimenter, so there is a lot more digging than you would get out of some of the lists that either cut that card entirely or cut it down to just a 1 or 2 of. So, I think the builds from Methodical are not as good as they could be if you were building for these specific matchups, but they're not too far off.
And we're getting into game here, and something that we also learned from last match is that we expected that Draven Jinx was going to lose into the Gwen Sejuani or the GP Sejuani deck, and Methodical was able to pull out the win out of
Okay,
that.
to be fair, it was going to have Make It Rain hit the Draven.
I mean, yeah, but like we still expected it to lose, but he still pulled out the win. So if anybody can prove us wrong here, I think it's Methodical. Oh man,
I don't think this is the hand you prove us wrong with.
I'm gonna eat my words here in a second.
We've got a rather weak start on the side of Methodical, nowhere near as many 1-drops. Not that it would work out great, but what you really wanted to do was like drop another 2 1-drops here, swing out before the avalanche comes down, and sort of ride it home from there, taking a much more slow and, dare I say, methodical approach. Probably going to be able to get down something like an Elise here, a little bit more of a resilient board, but those double Tavern Keepers are probably just going to be a little bit too much to chew through.
Yeah, this is Sir Termund's in a very comfortable spot right now. We have to open swing here. We have to respect the avalanche.
Yeah, and with this Stygian onlooker, you're almost never going to be able to get value against it as long as this avalanche stays up. And once you open attack on Methodical side, Sir Termund's fine to just drop down that Tavern Keeper. They do not have to develop the avalanche into this board.
And we also just picked up Feel the Rush too. Oh my!
I don't know if that's the perfect top deck, but you know what?
I mean,
I don't know.
It allows us to be in a oh my gosh, we're disrespecting Avalanche.
This is actually not a bad Avalanche spot for Methodical because you have the follow-up onlooker. You'd still be pushing 7 damage into Sir Termund if the Avalanche is what comes out here. And Sir Turman might even just be debating, you know, do I throw down the Tavern Keeper to deny the Elise attack at this point?
Throwing down Tavern Keeper is actually not bad. I think that's actually a really good play right here. But we still develop the Stygian Onlooker here as well, and we're even pushing even more damage if we do that.
And if Sir Turman wants to pass here, if Methodical just goes for the attack, you know, says, okay, I think you might be sandbagging the Avalanche and reading my Onlooker here, then at least levels, right? You know, you'd probably throw down a Catalyst or maybe a Tavern Keeper after the fact, but that level 2 Elise, this one in particular, maybe not the biggest deal, but the second copy could be a little bit of an issue, but no, it is going to be the Tavern Keeper. And now Methodical, yeah, going to throw down the Onlooker and probably just swing out, get as much damage in as possible.
You won't suffer long.
We're only pushing 10? Yes, we're pushing 10 here.
We're only pushing 10 on turn 3.
Look, man, we have so much heal in the hand
Aggro
right
players
now.
with a world and more.
Look, man, we're still pushing. We still push the 10 damage, but we have so much healing in the hand, in Sir Turman's hand, that it really doesn't matter. Like it's just like a scratch now.
And this is probably the Avalanche to clear out everything. You know, you'll lose a Tavern Keeper, but a little bit of damage is pushed into the Gwen. And once Trundle gets down, I think that's where Sir Turman really starts to stonewall any further aggression by Methodical, unless we can pull something really cheeky like a double Onlooker off of this Stalking Shadows.
So we do top. That's or She Who Wanders. It's basically gonna once we my words are getting tied up. Oh my god! But once we develop that, it's if we actually get to that point, which we should, the game should be over before then. I think we're in a more comfortable position because it's just gonna take out pretty much the entirety of the board.
Speaking of taking out a lot of the board, Methodical going to lose a couple of units here, but going to push 4 damage at minimum. Bring Turman down to 7, Decimate down to 3, but of course we do see Catalyst of Aeons in hand.
We're not running any hollowed support for Gwen, are we?
No,
It's
it's
just all
just
spiders.
spiders.
That's raw. And we're opting not to block the Gwen here. I feel like that's fine to, or actually no, why aren't we blocking Gwen?
That is an excellent question. I think there's an Elixir of Wrath in this list.
There is an elixir. It's one of, so we are respecting the Elixir of Wrath here, which is still fine.
This one could use a trim.
Look at me remembering deck lists for once in my life.
But it is starting to get dicey here for Methodical. Methodical has to find his way out, and we're actually disrespecting the one of,
Okay.
and it's actually gonna pay off here.
I mean, Turman's not out of the woods yet, right? Like, you're not perfectly stabilized, not only because Methodical has a Decimate in hand, but also because we've seen how Methodical top decks in these late game scenarios, and if there's just a couple more Decimates coming out.
We just need one more bird, and we're able to pull it off. Actually, no, I lied because I forgot about Catalyst. Ah, joke's on me.
Well, this is going to be another 4 damage coming into Sir Turman next turn, unless we, like, use a Frostbite on a Spider.
That just feels awkward. I feel like we Frostbite the Gwen here and just let the Gwen swing. And we're doing shadows here. House Spider into Skitter is not bad.
Yeah, if you go double Skitter, you actually take Trundle off the board as a blocker. Well, no, because the Pillar will come down and actually put him up to 3 attack again because he levels.
Yeah.
Pillar comes down as well, so you kind of want just as much Fearsome as possible. But I mean, if you take the House Spider, you know, that Spiderling just goes in after the Pillar, pulls it out of the way.
Exactly. I feel getting double, we don't have enough. My math's off, right? No, we do have enough to do both. We have enough to cast both House Spiders, and override one of them, and override the 1/1. That's
or maybe
actually
you take
massive.
the Legion Saboteur and try to just push the additional 2 damage on the attack. I think you can't play around sweepers at this point. I think Methodical just has to say, okay, you know what? If there's an avalanche, we go to game 2. And Sir Turman doesn't have it, so Methodical does still have a chance at victory here and is going to take the Saboteur.
Explosives prime.
Have you mapped out if this is lethal or not?
I have not. So pushing at least 4 with Gwen and both Saboteurs here. Spider pulls 1, or Spider pulls the pillar. Trundle blocks Gwen.
Actually, do you just Gwen pull the pillar? To protect her for the next attack? I guess that doesn't really work because she'll just have vulnerable again next turn.
Oh, we're not playing the second Saboteur here. We're not going wide.
Okay. Deciding that this is enough damage as is. We've got a couple of copies of Three Sisters. Can Frostbite. We can attune.
This is lethal!
It is?
Oh no, I mapped that wrong.
Okay.
I forgot.
I was surprised as
I
was
forgot.
like, what?
I forgot there was a Gwen that Gwen had previously died, and we're getting a hollow proc off of this. I'm off by 1.
They look angry.
But wait. Oh no.
Are you off by 1? Okay, yeah, it looks like a Frostbite is going to come out onto the spider here, so we are just going to take 3.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, this is so scary right now.
We are just another burn spell away from lethal, depending on if Sir Turman fire. Like, there are potential that we don't get off an Noxian Fervor. There is potential that we do. You know, if Sir Turman just goes for a field rush here, then Noxian Fervor is lethal, and as such, they might not be able to go for it.
But Gwen dies here this turn, right?
Yeah. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 9 attack Trundle. Oh, if we top decked an 8+ cost card, I actually think Trundle was just lethal. But no, we're just going to disrespect the Noxian Fervor and say, yeah, here's FTR. That's going to be game.
Oh man. Like I said, even though Sir Turman was backed into a corner for a hot second there, he's still pulling out the win and still saying, you know what? Screw your aggro. I'm going to take this dub here. How dare you disrespect my lineup?
Yeah, Methodical playing a little bit too much for the burn top deck there. You know, not continuing to run out their units on the previous turn. Not pushing quite enough damage. Not getting enough spell mana out of Sir Turman's bank to deny the field rush for this turn either.
If we
it looks like it's going to be negative 28 on the Nexus here.
If we actually full developed our board there that last turn, we actually had lethal.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't lethal, you know, you would have gotten the second Flash Freeze out of Sir Turman. They would have only had, I think, 2 spell mana, or 1 spell mana going into this turn. Not enough to play the Field of Rush, and definitely prolongs the game a little bit more, gives you a couple more top decks to try to find that burn, but it's not the case. And Sir Turman is going to pick up game number 1 in the deck that we felt like probably should have been the ban anyway. Not a matchup we were expecting Methodical to even have a chance in, so, you know, now it comes down to the Jace Heimer.
Jace Heimer into both of these decks, I feel like it's going to thrive hard. We have so much removal for everything. We don't care about how much you drop. We have so much. We have Piercing Darkness for healing. We're in a great spot right now. And
Luckily,
we're running
though, not as many sweepers.
Exactly. And we're running back the spider aggro, which I think still might be able to squeak out. I still think it might be able, and we actually have a decent hand for this. And with attack token, it's actually going to be able to put Methodical here in a decent position early on. As long as we can keep up this tempo, I think we'll be fine.
I think I actually prefer having the attack token on evens as the Jace Heimer player in this matchup. You know, when you have that shock blast into a turn 3 development, like just sort of forcing your opponent to open attack on 3 on that turn where they really want to go as wide as possible. And Methodical doesn't really have the hand for it, but maybe with this Stygian Onlooker, if they can find, you know, another 1-drop would be perfect, but even barring that, actually just going to play out a blocker here in the Reggie for the Legion Rearguard and the Production Surge.
1 mana Production Surge. That's actually fine.
Yeah, I mean, completely abandon the sort of expected, yeah, I'm going to pass the first 2 turns and say, no, I'm going to get on board. I'm not going to eat all this damage for free. But it does severely Sir Turman's options for this turn, and now Methodical can throw down that Stygian Onlooker for maximum value.
I feel like if we push... Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, we're just going to push max value here. I feel like maybe... Would Frenzied Skitter push more damage here?
I don't think so. No, because you're getting 6 fearsome this way.
This is true. This is true.
You would preserve more of your board with the Skitterer.
So we're getting value trades here. We don't swing with the house spider here. We swing with everything else. But
Yeah, it looks like we're actually just gonna swing with the fearsome units. Okay, yeah, throw the spiderling in for good measure.
Like we have to
Sure,
swing
why
with
not?
we have to swing with rearguard here for just trading purposes because it's just a useless unit at this point.
So next attack turn, Methodical can throw down the Skitterer, and then nothing will trade with the rear guard.
Am I just stupid? Does Skitter give everything fearsome?
No, but it gives your opponent's board -1 attack.
Oh, this is true. This is true. Yes. Now I remember.
Okay, but no, it's going to be the full trade here. So you know what? Clean up Sir Termin's board a little bit. I'll take my fearsome damage. A couple of Hex Obliterators were the pickups from the Regis for Sir Termin. So these Gwens, they're going to be able to touch down, but they're not going to be able to last long, except Sir Termin does not have 6 mana this turn. So a Gwen into an open attack is an option, but a Challenger Jace probably going to dissuade that. And I think if Methodical passes, Sir Termin is so happy to just pass back.
I agree with this. We just want to drag out this game as long as possible, especially when we top that Chimera with all these 6-cost spells in our hand. I think we're actually happy to take this pass.
I think Methodical knows it as well and is trying to debate, you know, do I throw down my Legion Saboteur so that I can throw down the Skitterer? It doesn't really make for that much more of an impactful open attack. Do I fire off the Stalking Shadows here and sort of show that I have no more development? The full pass means Sir Termin's just going to take it right back.
And we're top decking another Jace here with Aftershock, or I'm sorry, not Aftershock.
Shock Blast?
Thank you. With Shock Blast here, it's going to be able to take out a lot of this board here. And we're pulling an Arachnoid Sentry right now.
No one's the
Okay, this is going to be a potential 5-wide attack. Sir Termin's going to take some damage, and with the Decimate in hand, might be looking at another... I mean, they're always just one more Decimate top deck away from lethal, right? And even though you just top decked a Decimate, you still hope that your next card is also somehow a Decimate.
We're contemplating what we're doing here. I think we're contemplating ripping the Shock Blast now. Or do we ever flash a Brilliance now just to see if we can pull something better?
I don't know if there is something better than Shock Blast in this scenario.
Here we go.
Yeah, and we see the Shock Blast come out just to clear the Saboteur and the Arachnoid Sentry. We know that the ephemeral Arachnoid Sentry is coming out here. So we're taking 5 damage here. We have to block the Fearsome unit, right?
There is... so we're getting down into weird breakpoints here where, like, 6 actually is different than 7 because of Doom Beast.
This is true. And we're top decking an Elixir of Wrath here.
Yeah, Sir Termin just continuing to take these passes with the Challenger Jace on board.
So
Gwen's
we're
going to
gonna
come down, but that's probably just going to get Hex Obliterated.
we have to Hex Obliterate off the... actually, no, we have a attack token here. We can just trade it into the Jace.
Yeah, I'm just a little surprised that we are okay with letting the Hallowed go into the death pool, but, you know, I don't think it's that big of a deal when our opponent only has a 1 health unit and we have this Vile Feast on backup.
And we also don't run any Overwhelm units.
Yeah.
So I think we're fine putting the Hallowed in there, and we see the Vile Feast coming out now to basically develop our board back a little bit here.
Yeah, also dodge something like Enoxian Fervor off the top while Methodical is down to just 2 mana. And from this point, Hirsch, I don't think Methodical has the board to claw back into this one.
No, I think we see the Hex Obliterator come out here right now. We see the Hex Obliterator come flip the Jace. Oh, we're opting not to. I mean, that's still fine.
Yeah, you can Hex Obliterate in combat. You know, you get a trade onto the Spiderling with the French fries. You get a trade onto the 3/2 with the Jace, or you can't take any damage here, Sir Termin.
What?
Okay, this is what I thought was going to
fixed it.
happen. This
We
makes
fixed-
more sense to me.
We made the right choice. We made the good choice. I got scared for a moment.
Oh man, can you even Elixir of Wrath to trade?
I think we have to, because we can't afford a Hexgate coming out on this turn.
Yeah, we're just playing for the top deck decimate.
Can Methodical do it? Can he hit the one time for the one time?
If 8 mana on Sir Termin's side, you know, this is like Heimerdinger into double Flash of Brilliance if you want it. Although we could also throw down the turret first in order to buff up all of our other turrets, give it quick attack, share that around on the next turn.
I feel like we double Flash of Brilliance here just to push more damage, because we're on a Sir Termin's at a point where he wants to go as wide as possible to close out this game as fast as possible. We want to avoid double decimating here. We're on a time clock here right now. Literally. We see the decimate come out. We developed the Saboteur here, I think. Or, well, I mean, I know, but like,
once everything's said and done, yeah, we'll get the Saboteur down, but it's kind of rough from Sir Termin, because I think you do have to keep in mind, you know, what if I top deck Doom Beast? Because you are dead on Sir Termin's next attack.
We're passing. Wow.
Okay, yeah, playing for the Doom Beast top deck, and it's an
Oh.
onlooker. Not gonna do it.
Yeah, this is, unless we, even if we develop, we're still nothing sticking to the board.
Yeah, I mean, and with, you know, this much mana available for Sir Termin, they're not really worried about an Oxyan Fervor top deck. We have so much fast speed removal.
Yeah, no matter what we play here, we have Vengeance on board. If Methodical develops this Stygian Onlooker, it's just gonna get Vengeance, and that's gonna be the game. So, Sir Termin here picking up the swift 2-0 against Methodical. I feel like Methodical really disrespected by not banning Field of Rush here. And it's actually
think that TF Go Hard would have been an easier time than either of the games that we saw here, but
I don't know. Maybe Methodical got scarred from Pack Your Bags being 1 mana. He's like, I don't want to deal with that anymore.
Like, TF Red Card and Go Hard and all these different single target removal spells in the Go Hard were certainly threatening, but I don't know if it was more threatening than like Avalanche. But the decision has been made, and now the teams are tied up 1-1 between TA Boomers and TA Mindsplitters, and I have to imagine that we're not throwing Salty Simon on the same lineup as Methodical into the next game. Probably going to be our more mid-range focused player for the Mindsplitters.
I agree. I think putting Simon into this specific lineup with the exact same lineup Methodical brought is just asking to just hand over the free win. But with that, we are going to cut it to a short break. Stick around. You don't want to miss a single moment of this kill match. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Esports round of 16 playoffs. The kill match between TA Boomers versus TA Mindsplitters. Just to recap everything that's happened so far, we had Methodical 2-1 for LW. We had Methodical lose to Sir Termin 2-0 in a very in a very predictable matchup, in my opinion, for not banning Feel the
I think
Rush
that's
here.
a fair thing to say.
Yeah, like we kind of figured that it was going to Methodical kind of backed himself in a corner here, but it's okay. We have Kazubi coming out to save the day right now. He brought his mid-range list, and hopefully that will be able to get us more the tempo we need to get back on track here. You want to talk about his deck real quick that he's bringing?
Yeah, so we theorized at the end of the last match that they're not going to throw Simon into the lineup that Methodical just lost with. Instead, they're going to throw in the more mid-ranged focused player in Kazubi. Pantheon Varus, a staple archetype. I believe it was one of the top 3 across most of the regions of the World Qualifiers. And it's honestly just a very, I want to say like straightforward-ish list with some pretty honest win conditions. You know, you just kind of play for the board. Pantheon and Varus both have the potential to kind of get out of control. Saga Seeker, even getting nerfed down to a 1-1 from a 1-2, can get out of control rather quickly. The one problem you might run into is if you don't actually find a weapon, then you can run into a little bit of an issue. You've got the Lunari Cultist and the Furious Wielder, the Expanse's Protection, the Unending, like so many cards that require you to have a weapon online in order to be fully functional. And I do want to point out a little bit of, I would say, a strange tech here. 3 copies of the Expanse's Protection in this list from Kazubi. It really feels like this is the ringer that Team Mindsplitters brought in to go against these control matchups and teching more for that. Furious Wielder down to a 2 of as opposed to a 3 of means we are not worried about mid-range at all. That is what Simon and Methodical are here to deal with. Kazubi was brought in with these lists to deal with players like Sir Termin, so we'll see if it works out.
And like we said before, it is Kazubi versus Sir Termin. With the matchup, Kazubi also brought Vayne Quinn, the Piltover version, and also Ziggs Talia as well. How do we feel about this matchup into Sir Termin's lineup?
Again, I think cutting the Fiora from the Vayne Quinn really solidifies Kazubi as the anti-control player. So you got to be feeling pretty good about this lineup, right? And one of the things that I always said when Zigstalia was very popular is like, you just look at an Hourglass deck versus a Vengeance deck, and it's pretty clear which one of those should be favored in really any given matchup. Landmark's just so difficult for these control decks to deal with. It's always been a pressure point for them. RIP to the Bandle Tree, the great equalizer of the format. Maybe one day we'll get you back, big guy, but for now, it's just a lot of control decks not really getting punished by a lack of landmark removal. So I actually do think that Zigstalia pretty likely to be the ban here from Sir Termin. It is the one that is going to give you the most trouble. And of course, those very strong Darkin in Hirazi and Seratu coming out of the remaining 2 decks going to pose a big problem. Sir Termin feels like they're on the back foot here in Champ Select.
What do you think we ban on the side of Kazubi? I feel like we either ban. I mean I know what he's already banning, but I feel like still the good choices are either Heimer Jace and the feel or the go hard deck. I feel like leaving up Feel the Rush here in this instance is perfectly fine because we're not afraid of the Avalanche. We're not afraid of Withering Whale. We're not afraid of Blighted Ravine.
Yeah, I still don't mind taking FTR off the table just because a few of these decks do want to go to the late game. You know, like turn 8 is where you're actually throwing down your big Darkin. So, like, the next turn is when FTR comes out, or even the same turn if a Catalyst came out earlier. But because you are pretty mid range focused, you do just get eaten alive if Pack Your Bags comes out. So, I could see a defense on the side of, you know, banning out the TF Go Hard. I don't think Jace Heimer is going to be the ban, but yeah, it is going to be the TF Go Hard, and it is going to be that Zigstilia, like I had mentioned.
Now, this is going to be actually still pretty favored on Kazubi's side, even with just double Shadow Isles decks. I think we're still fine. I feel like maybe Quinn Vane might have a little bit of a rough time, but I still think overall this is still favored for Kazubi here.
I got to take a closer look at this Quinn Vane deck and see if there's anything, you know, kind of crazy coming out. Are we actually okay? We didn't go that hard. Like we're not on Stony Suppressor. Like we're not going that deep into the pool here, but it is still you know, kind of what you would expect. 3 copies of the Blood Cursed Harpy. I know I saw a few players down to like 2 of that. I know Donut specifically Actually, I don't remember if Donut cut Quinn or Fiora. I know he was only playing 2 champions in this, but he was a big proponent of like the 3 copies of the Blood Cursed Harpy, where a lot of players from the WCQ only on maybe 2.
I think Donut did cut Fiora from this list. I think just cutting Fiora from the list in general is just overall better. I feel like putting Fiora into this is a bait because in this deck, I feel like Fiora is just going to be an over glorified challenger. You're never really going to win with Fiora as a win con.
I have bad news. He cut Quinn.
Oh, he got Quinn. Oh,
He didn't even
no.
play 3 Fiora, though. It was just 5 champions.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
But still, I mean, he's still qualified with the deck, so I mean, maybe he
Yeah.
knows more than we do.
I don't know, but I scrimmed with Donut is the one single player I scrimmed with going into the WCQ. I'm not confident in saying he knows something we don't.
I
I
mean,
hope he's not watching.
but put it this way: he qualified for Worlds, we didn't.
I wasn't there. You weren't there. You were on the broadcast with me. That's why we
I
weren't
mean,
there.
but I still didn't even make Worlds qualifiers. Did you make cut?
I didn't play in anything. I casted 3 of those seasonals.
I mean, you can still qualify by ladder. You don't have to qualify through seasonals.
Oh yeah, like let me just go sit down and play ladder with my free time. Do you know why
I mean,
I'm a shoutcaster, Hirsch? Because ladder isn't expected of me.
But look at
What if I
Roshi.
hit rank 1? What does that do for me, huh?
It gives you bragging rights in Twitter
I'm
clout.
a world champion. What do I need bragging rights for? I'm good. I'm solid.
Alright, we should be getting into game here hopefully soon, and the game started. And first, we're gonna see Quinn Vane into Heimerdinger Jace. So far we're looking pretty rough on Sir Termin's side. I think we definitely keep the quietest here for sure. Oh, it's a full keep.
Okay, so the one thing I'm interested in here, because Jace Heimer is easily the deck that I've played the most of this season, and, you know, playing it on ladder, I ran into a lot of the Quinn Vane matchup. Do you Quietus the Petricite Broadwing on turn 2? In my experience, the answer is absolutely not, never. You really need to hang on to those Quietuses to deal with the Darkin.
That's true. Yeah, you should always hold on just to deal with the weapon. And we're seeing the open attack from Kazubi, pushing 3 damage early on.
Oh. As someone that's played a lot of this matchup, I also know that production surge into the 3-mana turret, usually pretty much game over in this matchup.
But we take we hit the overwhelm turret and the tough turret as well. Vane's gonna come out here. We're still gonna push. I feel like even if Sir Termin opens, which he shouldn't, I feel like we're still okay to take this trade down.
Yeah, I mean, things are going to get really rough from here on out, though, getting down the Adaptatron as well as the Hextech Handler. You know, the trade down is nice. It's not everything. Oh, an Uncycled Rake, though. Actually, a really big pickup. And Uncycled Rake is the one weapon that I will consider throwing a Quietus at outside of the Darkin, because this Demacia style of gameplay has really moved away from traditional rallies like Relentless Pursuit and Golden Aegis, and is much more focused on rallying through a single free attack with a scout unit.
And we opt to take Fish a Whack instead. Now we're gonna see the trade here for the Hextech Handler into the Petricite Broadwing. And then I assume that we're gonna see the block from the 5-2 turret. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We throw the tough turret into this.
Things still looking good for. I would say like both players feel like they're kind of in a fine spot, right? Like Sir Termin can get down the Heimerdinger, but Kazubi has the fish fight for it. We do have to spend quite a bit of mana on that, though. We have to like re-equip a weapon into the fish fight, and it's really going to slow down what Kazubi wants to do on the following couple of turns. And then like this Piercing Darkness and this Vengeance looking pretty good. Vengeance almost certainly going to be saved in case the Saratu does come down. Blood Cursed Harpy does open things up a little bit here for Kazubi.
I think we're gonna see another combat cook develop here. Actually, no, we should see Quinn drop out here. Actually, no. What am I talking about? I'm just completely oblivious to the fact that Sir Termin has Vengeance in hand right now. We want to definitely respect that. We're gonna see
Yeah, as
Combat
well
Cook
as
come out with Sandworm Amulet and Pot of Pain. I feel like we definitely go for Pot of Pain here.
Garlic works in a pinch.
oh, it's gonna be
But
the
what
amulet.
do I know? Apparently, I know absolutely nothing.
So I think no, even if you want the pot of pain. So the only thing that I'm kind of considering right here is Kazubi trying to keep open the fish fight mana, going for the combat cook, but Heimerdinger only has 4 health. You could have gone for the pot of pain. So yeah, I guess you just don't know what you're talking about here.
I guess not. I feel like Pot of Pain is just wait. Oh, we're gonna see the piercing darkness here to clear out the vein. But like I said, I think Pot of Pain is just better just to be able to guarantee that one damage. It's not big, but I mean, still that 1 damage will still
Yeah,
matter.
I
later
can't
on.
see the fearsome doing an insane amount given that a Hextech handler has already resolved. But now the Fishawak gonna play in big. This is why we went for this over the Scout. It synergizes better with the Blood Cursed Harpy, and the Quiet is actually gonna be forced out. That's gonna put Sir Turman down below 6 mana. You know, we can finish this off with just actually blocking it. You know, it does only have the 1 life now.
Yeah.
We don't have a weapon to re-equip with the Tumble either.
I feel like we're fine taking that trade now. Do we ever if we take this pass here?
So what Kazubi can do is actually go in with the combat cook, and if there is a trade, tumble the harpy.
I don't. We're not going to get a chance to because we were at the thermogenic beam here.
I guess that's kind of the question, right? It's like, does Turmund rip the thermo if Kazubi goes in for just 1 attack? Do we all out attack and just sack the harpy to a 5/2? That can't be right.
I think either if we take the open or we take the pass here, I think thermogenic beam is definitely coming out here onto this harpy because we don't want this harpy. Does if harpy gets reapplied, it doesn't get the light or it doesn't get the second life again?
Come and get it.
I think it's just the first time a weapon dies on it is when it gets the second life. So actually, I'm not sure how Quietus interacts with that. Let me read the harpy real quick. So
Well, the
first time I would die while equipped. Fully heal me
Okay.
and destroy the equipment instead. So yeah, if we get a second weapon onto this, even though the first one was killed by Quietus, we will still get a revive on the Harpy based on this wording.
Yeah, I see. I realize now we see the activator still on the blood harpy as well. It's still activated. So yeah, like I said, we're seeing the thermogenic beam here. We don't want
Yeah.
another weapon coming onto this blood harpy.
And I think Kazubi was playing under the assumption that, like, you know, there is no thermogenic beam, or like maybe they have it, but the fact is they are not on 6 mana, so I don't have to worry about vengeance. I don't have to worry about piercing darkness. This is as safe as I'm gonna get to try for this harpy line, and it doesn't work out there. But the removal is really getting whittled down for Sir Turmund, sitting on a couple of dead 1-drops here in the Adaptatron and the Forge Chief. And now Kazubi getting real close to those Darken turns as we top deck the Seratu. So Quinn gonna come out. This might be Vengeance bait. We'll see how it goes. Sir Turmund, you know, doesn't have first action next turn, so Kazubi is fully able to just develop Seratu into a Vengeance.
And we're gonna see. I imagine we're gonna see the tumble come out here for the rally too. Yep, there it is.
Yeah. And we have actually, this will take Cataclysm off the table, but we couldn't Cataclysm to kill the Heimerdinger anyway because we can't play a weapon and Cataclysm.
Pushing the extra damage here with the fearsome. Actually, you know what? Now the fearsome weapon's actually coming in handy now.
Yeah, surprisingly. I mean, that's going to be 6 damage
12
coming through,
damage.
and this is also going to activate Condemn if Sir Turmund doesn't go for the Quietus here, but they do. You can still kill Heimer by challenging it and condemning it.
I still feel like that's still fine. Oh, we're gonna throw
We're
Dark
going to go for the
Card.
Dark and Harp. Yeah, I mean, that's 2 Quietus down.
And we get the free Heimer trade too out of this.
Okay, Kazubi. You know, we were maybe a step behind here, half a step behind. I think we saw the writing on the wall, but didn't quite get the words out of our mouths fast enough. But yeah, Kazubi going to be able to take out the Heimerdinger, no problem. And with 2 Quietus down, Sir Turmund cannot deal with this quick attack weapon.
Yeah, Kazubi's showing us that he's actually like 5 steps ahead of us right now. He's been planning this so far with the early fearsome weapon too. We're gonna take this trade actually is really beneficial to us right now. And now Sir Turmund's basically with a smaller hand. He's in a rough spot now. We're gonna see the combat cook come out for sure. I feel like that we're also gonna see the Jace come out because Jace has to block here, right?
Yeah, I guess it's a question of, is Kazubi going to throw out a Dark? And actually, it's not going to be Saratu. It is going to be the Knight
Jor-
guy from
Jarrell.
Dark Souls who makes spells
Jarrell.
cost more. Jaral.
Yep. Jarrell actually is actually huge here because now we can Sir Tournament has to either rip the vengeance now or risk wasting two extra mana and burning his whole entire mana now. That's actually
I don't think Sir Termin can Vengeance in this spot, knowing that there's a Saratu in the opponent's hand.
I mean, but Sir, it's rough. We're just
Do
our
you
hand. I don't.
do you ever flash and see what you get? Maybe it's a kill spell. Maybe
I
it's
mean,
the Senna spell.
it doesn't hurt not to.
Yeah, you're not playing, you know, you only have 5 mana worth of units, so the flash could come down anyway. Yeah, it's not going to be the most impactful flash brilliance of your life. Yeah, you'd love to have a Heimerdinger with it, but
And we are going to rip the
Vengeance onto
vengeance here.
Quinn, and Kazubi has the Cataclysm Saratu combo. If that resolves, that's gotta be game over.
Yeah. Oh, we're just gonna see the Dark and Harp onto it. We want to keep Jarrell going as long as possible. Get as much value as we can. We don't care about Jace right now. That's basically what Kazumi's saying right now. And another Blood Harpy on top of that. Can we get another weapon for Harpy right now?
Not right now. I mean, if Termin develops the Jace, we can, like, Cataclysm Jaral into it. Actually, we could fish fight if anything comes down to unequip the weapon, but I don't think you can fish fight an open board.
Oh no, we ripped Flash and got Poro or call it the Poros, right? Or is that Poro?
Aurora Borealis.
Thank you.
No problem.
That's honestly probably the worst hit we could get.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Aurora Borealis is actually going to give you a lot of blockers.
I mean, but we still have to get to that point of developing that board, and even still.
Yeah, it's not a great hit. And this is an Aurora Borealis, right? It is not a Hextech anomaly.
Actually. No, wait. Because Flash of Brilliance only pulls from your regions. This actually might be... Are we running? I have to check this.
I don't remember if Hextech can only pull from your regions, if I'm being honest.
No, Flash of Brilliance...
Or Flash, rather.
Yeah, Flash, create a spell, a random 6-cost spell from your regions.
Okay, so this is almost certainly a Hextech anomaly, then.
But we're not main decking Hextech Anomaly. Did Pharaohs generate an anomaly and we just didn't see
Flash
it?
can get anomaly. It's 6 mana.
Oh, that's right. Wow, that's actually a lot to think about. What the hell? It's so trippy. And we see the I forgot what the name or
Fish fight?
thank you. My just after thinking about that, my mind is just like fried right now. From
No problem.
We see the fish fight come out to take off the Pot of Pain to set up for the Blood Harpy here, and we're gonna see Mystic Shot come out for the Combat Cook. I imagine that we're gonna be dropping Jace here. We're not.
I mean, you'd just be dropping it into a Jaral with Quick Attack.
I mean, this is also true.
But now,
we do
Harpy with a pot. Termin can, what, Jace Decimate for?
Hey yo, aggro.
You do
Decimate?
technically have mana for Jace Progress Day? But you might die here, so does it?
I don't think there's any out here if we Progress Day.
No, not for 1 mana. You might be able to find more blockers, but that's really it. And I don't think Hextech Transmogulator really helps you in this situation.
I mean, we can do the funny thing that everybody was when Decimate hit 6 mana. We can now double Decimate for free. Well, not for free, but still.
Yeah, I think this is just gonna be lethal for Kazubi.
Yeah. Because we, after this attack, we just throw out another Jarrell here.
I guess you could Transmogulate now, but the Jarral would have 5 health because it's Pot of Pain. Oh, that wouldn't even work.
And that's all. That's just gonna burn through all of our mana still.
Yeah. I mean, not that we have much else to do with it.
Actually, wait, Drell only works for when he's in combat, right?
Yeah, so like you'll go down to 2 mana, which like, you know, doesn't really do anything either. The bigger problem is that it is a buffed up Pot of Pain here, so it will be a 5 health tough Geralt that will survive the Jace block.
Yeah, and Sir Turman throwing out the GG Shen emote, knowing that there's no way out of this, and Kazubi taking that first wind, which is going to be massive for him. Now we're going to see Pantheon Varus into either Jaceheimer again or Feel the Rush now. So
I think you have a better shot versus FTR. You know, the 2 copies that they have in here, rather, of the Unforgiving Cold, much more effective in that matchup. Although, you know, you can get them onto a Jace and really sort of swing things back in your favor if your opponent gets kind of greedy with the challengers. But either way, I think that Pantheon Varus definitely can hold its own in whatever matchup it finds itself in here. And, you know, it's got to win versus either one of them at some point. So it doesn't really matter which one queues up first.
and we are going to see the run back with the Jaceheimer. So far, I don't think... I think both hands are kind of rough. But we're opting to keep the Heimerdinger and the Quietus. Actually, Quietus is still fine to keep. But hitting Adaptatron early is going to be nice, especially if Kazubi is able to pick up a... Wait, are we... Okay, we're full rolling that.
Yeah, as cool as Varus is to have on curve, especially in a deck full of cards where you really need a weapon active in order to get your stuff done, the fact that you just get to... It's kind of weird, because you tutor Varus off of the Darkened spells, but the Darkened spells really only work if you've played a weapon, so if Varus is the first weapon activator that you're looking for, you can end up playing a lot of your spells for much lower value than you would really like.
And we're going to see the Forsaken Bakai drop down. We got Pale Cascade, Lunari Cultist, and Unwind...
Unending Wave.
Thank you. I'm dyslexic apparently right now. And I think we are going to opt for the Lunari Cultist, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to get the Faded going as fast as possible here. We're going to see Lodestone come on to
Oh,
the
big Quietus here.
Okay. That's rough. But
Yeah,
hey,
not only do you lose the weapon, but now the Adaptatron isn't even threatened by this Bakai.
but it's okay. We got our weapon proc. That's all that really matters, right?
Harazi's pretty good in this matchup. Like, yeah, it's cool you got the weapon proc, so now we will get 2 off the Lunari Cultist. You can gem up this Bakai if you want to, you know, throw it into trade with the Adaptatron. You do run the risk of just, like, walking into a Vile Feast, which is not... Honestly, I don't mind getting the Vile Feast out of my opponent early, because you're running 3 copies of the Expanse's Protection. That is the easiest way for Sir Turman to pop the Spell Shield in response to a larger spell like Vengeance. So it's actually not invaluable to get those out a little bit earlier.
And also the momentous choice here is going to be actually really huge as well for later on in the game. But I feel like we're just going to take we just take this end around here. There's nothing for us to really do.
The big concern right now for Kazubi, there's no answer for the Heimerdinger.
We Mystic Shot this Saga Seeker, right? It doesn't even matter because we have momentous choice to answer.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem, right? Is like if you do it into the momentum, like now I think it's a little bit more reasonable to go for it. At least you are denying a Faded proc on a future turn from your opponent, but Sir Turman actually just going to take the pass and say, I don't really care about that.
This is
probably
fair.
hanging on to that Mystic Shot for a Spell Shield popper down the line.
I feel like being able to deal with the Saga Seeker early is going to make it spiral out of control. We're kind of in that spot now where Kazubi can just keep the Saga Seeker on the board with whatever, unless we just rip a Vengeance on it, which that just feels really bad to do.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, if your plan is to get down Heimerdinger here and start putting out turrets, the Saga Seekers don't have Overwhelm. They don't have easy access to Overwhelm in this deck. It's only like Wandering Shepherd into the Fishawhack, which not guaranteed. Also, your opponent hasn't thrown down a Wandering Shepherd at this point, so you're feeling pretty safe to just hold this back as a response to the Expanse's Protection to make sure that the Vengeance goes through on a higher priority target. But Kazubi sort of sitting on an awkward hand at this point, right? You don't really just want to raw throw down an unleveled Pantheon. I think if you can get it down with Spell Shield or Tough, it's very valuable in a matchup like this.
Adaptatron has to block the 3-2, right? It has to block a Saga Seeker. No? Alright, I guess I'm just wrong. I guess we're fine. We're still fine taking 7 because we still have Runation in hand.
Yeah, and with Heimer, Flash of Brilliance, and Production Surge in hand, you can choke a lot of value out of this Adaptatron before you throw it under the bus.
This is true.
And like you mentioned, these Saga Seekers aren't going anywhere. They're just going to get bigger and bigger, and because they don't have Overwhelm, this is fine to just block it down the line. We're actually going to see a pass out of Turman here, not even willing to throw the Flash into the Fearsome Turret right now. Maybe wanting to throw off a Production Surge before we throw down the Fearsome Turret.
I'm just... I mean, there's no difference from playing it last turn to this turn. You're still doing the same thing. You just wait. The only difference is you're wasting an action now.
Yeah, I thought it could be Flash for the turret, then play Production Surge, don't play the turret yet, and then give it all the keywords the Adaptatron has, because I don't think you care too much about spreading Fearsome to everything coming out of the Production Surge, but maybe you care about whatever those keywords are getting onto the 3-1, and, you know, you throw it out after combat, after all these other turrets have sort of traded away, but Sir Termund, you know, just waiting to see another card, I guess.
And we see one of the 3 Expansies protection pulled out here. It's going to be fleeting. I feel like we're still going to want to rip this onto the other unfaded or unproc faded Saga Seeker this turn. We don't want that going to waste, really. We're going to see Sputtering Songspitter here. Unto Dust, Lambs Respite. Time Trick and Unspeakable Horror. I feel like Time Trick's fine, right? Yeah, we take the Time Trick, we take Onto Dusk, and we take Brothers Bond.
Brothers Bond?
I think Brothers Bond is fine here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Decimate, and with the Mystic Shot in hand, you know, I don't think Kazubi's too willing to sort of play into these barrier turrets. You get a lot of damage done here.
We haven't casted a 6-mana spell yet, right?
No, Stuttering Song Spinner.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm like, we just did, right? That's why we're so low on mana, and there's a 7-mana turret on board.
My mind is just like going everywhere still. But picking up the Hextech Handler is going to be massive once it gets onto that board with these turrets right now.
We've actually got a little bit of trading power with these challengers in this Brothers Bond.
We unto Dusk here for sure. Develop another challenger unit. Throw the challengers into the Saga Seekers. And what is Kazubi gonna do? Kazubi can only block one of the Fearsome units that it's gonna go out.
Actually, yeah, and they would have to use the momentous choice to do it. What I'm thinking is Sir Termund actually uses Brothers Bond onto both challengers, throws those at the Saga Seekers, actually threatens their lives, and then still throws 10 Fearsome over the 1/3.
This is true. Do we ever just drop raw Pantheon right now? We have second Pantheon in hand. This stops us from taking so much damage. We know that Sir Termund has the chance to develop a third challenger. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do.
Spot, and you might actually lose the Pantheon for this. There is a Vile Feast to pop the barrier, and now you have nowhere near as much protection against these challengers.
But we have Momentous Choice in hand for the... Oh, we're just going to see the Mystic?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of challengers going to come through this turn. Actually, I guess not now that we are throwing... Well, no, yeah, that is going to get challenger and barrier. So with the Brothers Bond, this is actually a lot of board presence being put up by Sir Termund. A lot of Kazubi's board could be dying here, and you can really only save one unit with that momentous choice. Which one's it going to be? Is the Brothers Bond going to get committed even? And with the way these attacks are lined up, I have to assume the answer is yes.
It looks like it is. Do we want to take 7 here, or do we want to save the Pantheon? I don't think we really care about the Pantheon right now.
I think what Sir Termund is doing here, right, is you wait to see if Kazubi saves the Pantheon, and if they do, then you Brothers Bond to take out both Saga Seekers.
Oh, this is big. I feel like I don't know. I don't think we saved... why are we saving the Pantheon?
It is the scariest unit you have, but this is going to be a lot of damage going down, and now both Saga Seekers, their lives are up for grab if Sir Termund wants them.
Stand with me.
I feel like taking just straight up 10 to the face right now is just not it. I feel like we had to throw down the Lunari Cultist just to save that 7 extra health. Like we have another Pantheon in hand. I don't think like protecting this one is that big of or is that necessary right now?
One way or
Pantheon-
another, Hirsch, I don't know if Kazubi's going to be able to come back from this, assuming that Sir Turman does use this Brothers Bond here to take out both Saga Seekers, and that will be the case.
Yeah, we're. The only. Is there any way we can win here? We flip Pantheon this turn.
You know, I was theorizing. I'm like, yes, there are ways you can win. Not on 7 mana.
Let's see. We rip momentous choice here on the Pantheon. We flip Pantheon. We get elusive. You can't roll Scout on Pantheon anymore, straight up, right? Or is it just a lower chance?
No, you just can't do it at all. It would be so feels bad if they just gave it a lower chance. You just do it anyway.
So we're not gonna. Actually, maybe we still can. Maybe there's still an out here. We flip Pantheon here. We get elusive lifesteal.
You get. I mean, Varus is getting vengeance one way or another, right? I don't think Pantheon can do it on his own.
We hit the lottery, and we're flipping Gareth too.
I have to sit through all these level up animations first.
At least it's not the Shurima movie, so we're okay. We don't hit elusive. We hit tough, fury, regen, and spell shield and fearsome. Those are not those are not the keywords
die
that
to
we
the 7/1
see.
turret. Awesome, love it. Yeah, I mean, this is the lethal presentation from Kazubi, and technically had a chance at working. 6 damage could get taken out by the blockers of Heimerdinger and a tough turret, but that would still be exact lethal. But yeah,
Sir
the
Sherman
vengeance
doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's ripping the vengeance and says, "You know what? I'm gonna just take this dub real quick." And that is I don't even think there's anything that we could draw that can still live. I don't even think Unforgiving Cold saves us here.
I mean, a second one does, right?
Actually, no. We still live here. We still live. We have one more turn. Unforgiving Cold hits both the elusive turret and the barrier turret. We throw Pantheon to the walls and block.
There's no kill spell for the Pantheon either. We can pop the spell shield with the Vile Feast, but once that's done, the Pantheon's still here. Furious Wielder, unfortunately not online. Pantheon is not equipped with anything at the moment. Are we still alive, Hirsch?
It's now looking less likely. Wait. We could still. No, that's still not gonna matter. Wait, why are we stunning that turret? We can't rip Unforgiving Cold now.
Yeah, that was not the stun.
We had to stun Adaptatron or Hextech Handler here.
Yeah, and now
we just have Unforgiving Cold's just gonna frostbite one unit now.
not only that, but I mean, if Sir Turman wants to, they can throw out like a Telstone into an Aftershock and just develop 2 more elusive units. Go ahead and overwrite this one if you really want to, and maybe that's what Kazubi's counting on, is like, we're just going to overwrite this one anyway for another attacker.
I mean, still, I think I don't know, it's just rough.
Upon our return.
No, we're just gonna swing. So Unforgiving Cold's gonna. That's the game. That's the game right there.
That's just lethal.
Wow. You know what? Now that I think about it, I don't even think stunning the lower health units are even gonna really matter right now.
It technically would have lived at 2.
Does he live at 2 still?
No, if you had stunned like the 4/3, for example, and then the Unforgiving Cold comes out, then you're only taking 7 from the Heimer and the Adaptatron.
Yeah, you're right.
But either way, that is going to be
The game.
Sir Turman picking it up.
So now it's going to be forgot what other decks are determined or wasn't banned. It's been that long.
Feel the rush.
Yes, Feel the Rush, because we banned Go Hard. So it's gonna. I feel like Kazubi's still in a good position. I feel like Kazubi can still pick the win up against Feel the Rush with this deck.
Yeah, this was a really strong start on the side of Sir Termund, which, you know, it's going to be the case anytime you find the Hextech handler early. The Heimerdinger, even in a matchup where it's a little bit more difficult to deal with, there's not an insane amount of backline access without a weapon available in this list. And, you know, we didn't see that many weapons, actually. We didn't see any of the Wandering Shepherds. We only saw the one copy of the Darkened Lodestone. So, you know, maybe we can pull it back. And again, we're going into a matchup that is more sweeper heavy and a little bit less single target removal heavy, and that's going to work out really well for Kazubi in a deck full of units that don't really care about Avalanche or Blighted Ravine or any of those kinds of cards. They care much more about the Vengeance, which I believe this FTR is only on 2 copies of.
Let me double check that. I think you're right.
God, I'm so good at this game.
Did you actually get it right?
I got it right. I checked the deck list after.
Go. But I think we're gonna see the full mull here on the side of Kazubi here. I think we're also gonna we keep Quietus. We keep the Vile Feast for sure for Saga Seeker. And I think we just kick the Avalanche here. Right?
I guess it's a
full keep.
Post mulligan or
I think that was a full keep. But we did get pretty much we mulled 2 cards on the side of Kazubi. And seeing 2 Pantheons early is just rough.
I saw Mind Splitters line up and I said, "Oh, thank goodness! I'll be out of here in no time. A triple aggro, beautiful." Now we're 2 hours deep almost. Sir Termund has 2 Catalyst in hands, and Kazubi doesn't get to play a unit for the first 3 turns. And we're gonna hunker down for the night here, Hirsch.
We're in for a long one, man. I hope you got your tent ready. You got the fire going.
Oh man.
I feel like we're gonna pull Unforgiven. We had Unforgiven Cold there, right? Oh no, we pulled Kale Cascade. Oh
Kale
my gosh,
Cascade, man.
If you see me cast more, you're gonna see me be dyslexic all the time. I think that's gonna be my comedic draw is me screwing up.
Hirsch can't read.
Word. Yep. I'm an actor, by the way, and I have to read scripts too, so that's great. This is why I'm not an English major. But back to the game. On the side of Sir Termund, we're still sitting in a pretty good spot, picking up Trundle, picking up Blighted Ravine. Raw dropping this Pantheon is not the greatest thing in the world, but we're still gonna push. I feel like we just dropped Trundle here and just let it ride.
Yeah, you still have to take the damage from the Pantheon, which is the crazy part. As you know, there is this momentous choice that can get this Pantheon up to 6 attack with the Fated trigger. And I guess Sir Termund, rather than throwing down this Trundle, is thinking, okay, what if I just pass, take the damage, and then throw out another Catalyst of Aeons? Is that better? Or do I go for, maybe a Blighted Ravine to try and force something onto the Pantheon this turn? But in the end, it will be the Trundle. And you have to imagine Sir Termund's not going to block this.
I feel like Sir Termund should still block the Fated or the Forsaken Bakai.
Oh, the Bakai? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to preemptively Pale onto the Pantheon just to push a little bit more damage here. And then, yeah, pull back the Bakai. You're not fooling anyone with that.
Yeah. And we're gonna see Feel the Rush picked up here and Catalyst coming out. What damage last turn? I don't know what damage happened last turn.
Now Wandering Shepherd. Ooh, the Rake available.
And we're gonna see the Swift Quietus come out. There's no way we're letting this sit on that Pantheon.
Oh, is this going to be an Expanse's protection into the second Quietus?
It has to. There's no way we're going to allow Scout to stay on this Pantheon. That's just absolutely illegal.
I guess it's just more of a question of, does Kazubi feel like trying to fight over this weapon? And the answer is going to be yes. And I actually always found it really interesting that Spell Shield protects your weapon.
Yeah, that actually is interesting. And we're going to see the second Quietus come out. Get rid of that Rake. I don't want to see that in my video game. We're probably going to see the actually, it doesn't even matter. I don't think we do need to drop Blighted Ravine. I feel like we just flip the Trundle here, right?
Yeah, I think this is where the game starts to turn back in Sir Turman's favor. Kazubi, without the Rake, not pushing a lot of damage this turn, and Sir Turman can just level the Trundle, not spend too much mana, play FTR on the next turn, and without the Unforgiving Cold in hand, Kazubi looking like they're in a bit of a rough spot.
Yeah, not being able to get that much tempo early game, it's a really rough position for him. We're definitely not blocking this Pantheon here. We're just gonna let all this swing out. And just let the Trundle flip, that's fine.
Hirsch, how deep in the cosmetics of Legends of Runeterra are you? Do you like whole hog it? Because I'm seeing a lot of players going with like, we see Sir Turman here with the base board, the base Poro. I actually haven't seen normal Trundle level up in a while because I have the World Breaker skin. And I'm just wondering, like, we're not seeing a lot of cosmetics out of these players.
Well, we're not. Kazubi's an EU player, so we're not going to see a lot of cosmetics out of
fair.
him.
I'm surprised they have a board.
But I don't know what Sir Turban's excuse is, but me as myself, I like having I like having cosmetics. I don't preferably care about skins, but like I was just base board everything. I played off the pass and everything, got pets off the pass. But as soon as the Star Guardian board came out, I just bought that immediately and have been rocking it since. But we're going to see another Expanses Protect here, but it's not going to matter because Field of Rush is just coming out. This is spelling the end for Kazubi right now.
Yeah, Kazubi can Shield Vault to not die, but then you're losing 2 Pantheons. Which is, I want to say, as good as dying in this situation.
Yeah. Wait, no, this is still lethal.
Still? No.
Because Pillar pulls the Pantheon.
Yeah, but that Trundle's not getting to 10.
Is my math just wrong? Trundle gets 3 per 8 cost, right?
Trundle gets 1 per 8 cost.
Where am I at?
Where are you getting these numbers from? Hirsch? 3?
I don't know, man. I swear I thought it was 3 at one point. I might be just losing my mind and going bonkers.
It looks like we're actually willing to trade the smaller Trundle into the Pantheon, which is actually still going to kill it. Kazubi can only get this up to 7 health, and there is going to be 8 attack on this Trundle.
There's no way to protect this Pantheon here either. Kazubi's in a very rough spot right now. The only way I foresee us probably winning is if we are able to flip the Varus and be able to one-shot, but even still, it's still a very tough ask because we still have Trinamir at 10 health.
Yeah, I actually almost like the idea of Sir Turmund sacking the pillar to the Pantheon so that it is not a target for Varus's Overwhelm on the following turn.
Oh wait, we have Heedless Resurrection. We still can actually bring this Pantheon back to life.
Yeah, but no, Sir Turman's actually going to sack the pillar to stop the Overwhelm potential for the next turn and just have a board of 10 health units. And there's nothing in the death pool for this Heedless Resurrection at the moment. Pantheon never died. This is the same one from the first turn, and the Shield Bolt came out.
That's true. Pantheon's at 4. We can flip Pantheon next turn.
Yeah, and it might be enough if we can roll the elusive that should just be lethal.
It should. The only way Sir Turman can actually come out is if we draw a 3 Sisters here. Or our Harsh Winds even.
Actually, 3 Sisters or Harsh Winds wouldn't be enough because Kazubi has the Expanse's protection and Vile Feast will not pop the spell shield for a burst speed spell.
And we get the Unforgiving Cold to basically secure this.
Yeah, as long as there's no... I mean, now Atrocity's not even an option, although, there is the potential that we throw it onto the Trundle because it's not going to get hit by the expansion. There's this whole thing, but it doesn't matter because it wasn't top deck. It's not relevant. But now the Pantheon, can you hit the elusive and take it back for Kazubi? I don't think I saw elusive, but it was so quick. I can't tell.
I don't think he did. He didn't.
Oh, he didn't.
No.
Now you've just got a couple of dudes hanging out with a couple of den-dens, and, you might be able to kill the Trundle here. You might even be able to take a life off the Tryndamere, but you are not going to be able to do both. You are still going to die to this Overwhelm on the following turn. Although, if you can actually... I mean, we do have the Frostbite spell, Sir Turman can go kind of wide here is the big concern once they survive this combat without casting anything. We might still be dead on the side of Kazubi, but it's not all said and done yet.
I think it's pretty much set and done. There's,
It's
like this
I'm trying to like math out the lines of like, okay, like what if we Unforgiving Cold here, and then like we kill one of the Trundles or something, and then we can use this this Furious Wielder to take out another unit. But I don't think it all comes together in the end. I think Sir Turman, at the very least, can still go wide enough with these kindly Tavern Keepers and not lose enough units. This is still just going to be lethal. Not rolling Elusive on the Pantheon, not rolling Quick Attack on the Pantheon either does mean it is going to get traded back on as well. And we don't have enough to get it up, and I don't think we can afford to use our Frostbite spell to preserve it.
Even if we heedless
Ooh,
resurrect.
hold on. What if you Furious Wielder to damage the Trundle and the Pantheon Overwhelm? Is that enough?
We can Furious Wielder here and still Unforgiving Cold on top of that.
You have to Momentous Choice the Pantheon to even get it into lethal range, and that's gonna I think Furious Wielder might be enough.
Of your life, it will not last.
I think you can kill the Trundle and push through a 12 attack Pantheon.
Oh, wait. This is actually
You're running
right.
out of time here, though, Kazubi. You got to math it out real quick and kind of fire it off. But I believe this Momentous Choice will put the Varus up to 9 attack, and then Wielder will put it up to 11, and that'll be lethal.
Oh my gosh, it is. Because Final Feast still doesn't even get the heal off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's
doesn't
gonna do
matter.
it.
Oh my god, Kazubi actually clutched it.
Ooh, that was a close one, but Kazubi gonna pull it back at the last second here.
Wow. I'm just speechless right now. That's actually... He actually saw the line. He actually pulled this win off from being in that rough position from the early game. He flipped this game around.
And no vengeance for Sir Turman. Had the Vile Feast to pop a spell shield, but no follow-up spell, and so Kazubi gonna keep the Mind Splitters in this one as we go into the last lineup of TA Boomers. Sonic Holic has got to clutch it out for this team.
The pressure's on him right now. He has to go through 2 more players, but we'll be able to see if he's able to do it after we come back from this short break. Stay tuned. These matches have been absolutely wild tonight. You don't want to miss a single moment of this. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Aegis Esports Round of 16 playoffs. The all-kill match. I'm sorry. It's been a long night already. I'm already losing my words. The team kill match between TA Boomers and TA Mindsplitters has been a spicy one to say for myself. I don't know how you feel about it, or Boulevard.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some. Even if the decks aren't the craziest, we didn't expect anyone to reinvent the wheel coming into the top 16. Not while we are on the last sort of weekend of the patch here, but the gameplay that we have seen has been quite interesting. And honestly, Hirsch, the spice is coming out, but it was reserved for Sonic Holic, the last player, the last hope of Team Boomers. We're gonna take a look at this Ari elusive deck. This is so. We've seen something similar to this before. Pin Ping Ho, one of the strongest players on the APAC shard, did bring Ari Kennan's Spirits Unleashed to the World Championship qualifiers. This is rather different, though. This is a more traditional Omen Hawk elusives, very reminiscent of the beta days of Legends of Runeterra, where it was Mono Zed. You might have seen something like this similar running around in the Foundation's Gauntlet currently. Although this is actually going for Spirits Unleashed in a little bit more of a wide game plan than, say, Battle Fury go big on one elusive.
Yeah, with this, it looks like we're just playing for a straight aggro style format here. We want to just be able to just throw out all these elusive units on the board and say, haha, you can't really deal with this.
Yeah, and it's not going to be very easy for Kazubi to deal with, right? This is a pretty low interaction lineup that they've got going on. I mean, sure, Quinvane has a couple of challengers, and excuse me, the Pantheon Varus has like Furious Wielder. There's fish fights, there's like these fight spells, but there are triple homecoming in that Aria list, so it can really disrupt what we're going for here. But it is the second elusive deck of the lineup. Zoe, Timo, Nora, the more traditional Bandle City Targon deck, still in this lineup for Sonic Holic, dodging those sudden surge nerfs that are not set to go live until the last expansion of the Darken Saga.
Do we ever see the Pantheon Varus mirror matchup here?
I am gonna leave if we do, but it's quite possible. I don't think Sonic's lineup does very well into elusive, so you probably have to take the more traditional Zoe, Timo, Nora out of the park here. And then I think on the side of Sonic Holic, I uh, I don't know, man. Maybe the Quinn Vane is something that you could look at. I think that your remaining decks are probably going to do a little bit better into the Talia Zigs. That is something that I'd be a little more interested in leaving on the table. But these are not lineups that I would ever bring to a tournament. So their head-to-head ban charts, not something I'm super intimate with.
Yeah. I honestly think that we might ban we definitely banned the one of the elusive decks on the side of Kazubi. There's no way that's a lot. If both elusive decks get through, that's basically allowing no interaction at all. And we see the Bandle Targon ban come through and the Pantheon Varus ban
Oh,
on the
thank
other
goodness.
side. So we won't see the mirror matchup tonight. But it
A
is,
lot of spell shields and unforgiving colds, and it's a whole nonsense.
I think if we're on the side of Sonic, I think we honestly just queue up the Aria deck first and just try to get that free win out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the Ari deck has to win at some point, so you might as well lead off with it, right? Give the people a show. You know you're on stream. We asked you for the bans. Show us what this Ari Spirits Unleashed is doing, why you brought it to this tournament, why you felt like it was worth not homogenizing the lineups on Team Boomer, right? Because on the side of the Mind Splitters, we saw two players bring identical lineups, which is something we're pretty used to here in the Aegis Esports League. But when the teams go for three different strategies like the Boomers did, there's got to be a good reason for it. And with Ari Elusives being so far out of left field, I want to see what it can do.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me what decks I expected the TA Boomers to bring, I would not have expected Aria elusives. It's been a long time since we've seen it, but maybe there's hidden tech that we don't know about. Maybe they saw what Ping Ping did and just adapted on top of that.
I love the idea that they saw one of the best players in APAC not qualify for Worlds and went, they were onto something here.
But like I said earlier, this is against our TA Mindsplitters is technically REO, the EU team, and they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. So I'm not surprised that TA Boomers is doing their best to pull out all the stops they need to pull out everything they can to be able to take out TA Mindsplitters this time.
And I'm trying to figure out, I'm not sure I think the Vayne Quinn is probably the weaker deck for Kazubi in this matchup. You know, you don't really have fast speed interaction for something like the Homecoming. You don't really have great ways to get through the Frostbite that the Pantheon Varus is bringing out. Whereas Talia Ziggs, at the very least, I think, has a little bit more interaction for the elusives, not as susceptible to the Homecoming. You know, you even have Rite of Negation to push through your big lethals. And I really think that the Pantheon Varus pretty favored into both of these decks. It really is that Aria Lucis where you're looking to pick up the wins. And since we're not playing for game count here, I'm kind of hoping Sonic will put us out of our misery and just queue that one up first.
And we're getting into game here, and we're
God
seeing
damn it.
Ziggs Talia taking on Pantheon Varus. I honestly, I'm surprised. I thought we should have played Ari just to take that free win right off the bat, but maybe maybe we know that it's a guaranteed win, and that we're just gonna
Saving
save
that
it
morale boost for later.
Yeah. So on the side of Kazubi, we're actually looking at a pretty decent start to a hand here. Well, on the side of Sonic, we're not really getting that good of a start right now. If we pick, we're not even picking up a Saga Seeker or a what's the other? Why am I spacing? My God.
Lunari? Forsaken Bakai?
Both of those, yes.
Okay. So, just getting into the deck list here, because we didn't highlight either of these decks from these players. Sonic's Pantheon Varus does look very different than Kazubi's. We've got Eula back in here. We've got Ambitious Cultist back in here. There are no copies of the Heedless Resurrection, so definitely not as focused on beating Control as Kazubi's list is. We even see the return to the 3 Unforgiving Cold, which is going to do very well in a matchup like this. And on the side of the Talia Ziggs, again, pretty standard stuff. The 3 Hexplosive Minefield can do some pretty cool things in this matchup, but with the only the 1 copy of the Unleashed Energy, you are still only having that one sort of cheeky burst speed activator to get that big stun off.
For sure.
But Sonic's already down to 10. I feel like we blinked and we missed it kind of situation.
Yeah, I actually looked at. I was looking at the deck list with you, and I turned back. I'm like, wait, where did Sonic's health go? What happened?
I know that Kazubi's in like the aggro team, but slow down, kid. You don't have to do it that fast. But I mean, honestly, with the Ziggs on board, with no answer for that Ziggs in Sonic's hand, and the 3 Unforgiving Colds in there, this Ziggs might actually be the path to victory for Kazubi.
For sure. We're gonna ancient prep here. We pull a Desert Naturalist here.
Yeah.
That Desert Naturalist is actually gonna be huge for the next turn.
Kazubi well on their way to already leveling up a Talia as well. Just a little bit, like another point of burn that Sonic is going to have to deal with. We can assume that no unit damage is getting through for quite some time based on how many Frostbite spells there are in Sonic's hand, the fact that the weapon has already been equipped, these are online. But this Ziggs and this Talia combination, just so many landmarks, so much burn coming through at Sonic's Nexus. I don't know if they're going to be able to heal up in time or get online.
Yeah, it is looking rough for the side of Sonic right now. I don't know if there's really anything at this point that could save him right now. We do have 3 Unforgiving Colds, which is maybe able to stall out a little bit.
I don't know. I'm looking at the, just like the fact that we already have a landmark on board. Every card in our hand makes another landmark.
Do we ever drop the bomb? Yeah, oh, we do.
Oh, man. Yeah, getting it out of the way so that we can just take this vulnerable unit to the side with the Ziggs on the next turn. And I think Talia is going to level herself.
Oh, we didn't take the Desert Naturalist here. We just want to push the burn.
Yeah, and we're going to double up on the Scrappy Bomb that's going to level Talia. And now, I mean, that's probably an even better thing to pull this weaker unit to the side, guarantee the 4 push damage through the stones.
This is definitely looking rough for the side of Sonic right now. We Unforgiving Cold here, and then what happens next turn?
Even if we Unforgiving Cold here, like, you're still losing your Shepherd and your Eula, depending on how Sonic wants to pull these, unless you commit, like, a Pale Cascade as well, which you probably have to, because I think this Pantheon is your best chance at getting back online, but you do not have a hand that facilitates the Pantheon level up. You are not getting to this lifesteal anytime soon. I'm a little bit worried for Sonic here, but Depending on how Kazubi lines up this combat, for example, if we pull the Shepherd with the Ziggs and then get hit with an Unforgiving Cold and a Pale Cascade, we actually do lose our Ziggs here. And that will really swing things back into Sonic's favor.
Yeah. Kazooie taking the time, thinking, oh, he's going to go for the open pass. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm blind. It's the other way around. Sorry.
It would be kind of wild if Kazubi, like, it just slams 10 damage into Sonic's Nexus, and then on turn 5 is like, I'm good.
Nah, I want to drag this out a little bit longer. We're not going to swing the Ziggs. We're taking things cautiously here.
And I like that a lot, right? There is a Pale Cascade in Sonic's hand. Momentous Choice even would be a bit of an issue. And if you lose this Ziggs, you lose an insane amount of momentum that is really your win condition at this point.
Ziggs is halfway to leveled right now. And we're popping one more landmark next turn.
Tomorrow we live.
Can we?
Yeah, and then I mean, we can Unraveled Earth and get a few more landmarks popped down.
We're flipping Ziggs next turn right now. We have the Hexplosive Minefield to stop the Pantheon. I feel like we just don't do we drop the Inventive Chemist here. Actually, no, we don't. We don't want to lose. We don't want to lose another bomb.
Yeah. This Pantheon has got to get leveled and has got to roll lifesteal, but at the moment, way too far away from the level up for that to be a realistic opportunity over the next couple of turns. And it's like Momentous Choice currently lined up. Maybe we're just going to go for a big Overwhelm push, and we put it back. And we pull it out again.
And that's what we're going to be going for. We're going to go for the big Overwhelm push. We Unforgiving Cold here. We just say, whatever you throw at me, it's going to die.
And I actually like blocking from Kazubi here so that we can play the Inventive Chemist or throw down the Unraveled Earth and get both of them online and say, hey, Sonic, as long as the Ziggs is around, you're not allowed to play another unit for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think Unravel Earth is the smart move here. We Unravel Earth, we Hextech we Minefield here. And that's pretty much the game.
Naturalist lethal?
I think we have lethal regardless.
I think, what are we taking? 4 damage at the start of the round for Sonic?
And Talia just basically seals the game, no matter what. Actually, no, we have Guiding Touch too.
Yeah, and Pale actually stops the Talia damage on the Pantheon, and he'll go up to 6 health.
You see the Ziggs level coming out for Kazubi. Being brought down to 4 HP. We drop the Hex Minefield here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Minefield.
That should be...
Sonic can't play a blocker. Oh, and you can Naturalist the Minefield. Oh, this is dirty.
Oh, this is true. This is the game.
Yeah, draw a couple cards. What can you find? You find units. Those are the worst cards to draw right now.
No! Even Unforgiving Cold can't save us now.
Oh man, 3 Unforgiving Cold in the hand of Sonic Holic, and it does not matter worth a damn. Kazubi able to push half the Nexus health in the first couple of turns, and now just waiting for this Ziggs to finish things off. We called it out earlier in the game. This Ziggs is the win con. We saw Kazubi hold it back from combat, saying, I don't want to lose this champion. This is how I'm going to win the game, and now it is paying dividends. Sonic Holic locked out of playing any units. Pale Cascade onto a stunned Pantheon. Maybe we can find a fight spell and roll the lifesteal here. That's really the only option, but you'd have to find exactly a weapon and a Furious Wielder. There's the Furious Wielder. Oh yeah, you only draw 1. Never mind.
But we
didn't roll lifesteal. Oh, Pantheon 30 equipped. But if you Furious Wielder, then you don't have mana for the Unending Cold, and you just die anyway.
Wait, is Pantheon equipped?
There's an equipment symbol on him. I don't know what he's equipped with, but he's equipped with something.
He
but
is.
Again,
he's equipped with Pot of Pain.
Yeah, but because Furious Wielder puts you down to 2 mana, you will just die to everything else left on the field if you kill the Ziggs because you didn't roll lifesteal on the Pantheon.
Now Sonic's looking pretty rough here coming into this 01 right now. I think Sonic has to bust out this Ari deck right now. He has to get on the board. If he loses one more match, that's it. TA
I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Because eventually you do have to play that Pantheon versus Pain. Yeah, I guess the Pantheon is favored into the Vayne Paris. Quinn Vayne is what I meant to say.
Vayne Paris. And I'm glad I'm not the only one that's dyslexic tonight. That makes me feel better about myself.
I
Thank
kept
you.
staring at Pantheon Varus and trying to say Quinn Vayne.
But it is going to be the Pantheon Varus run back into Quinn Vayne. We're not looking too hot on the side of Sonic right now. I hope this is not post-mole. I hope we can full mole this because we need to get on the board.
I think that's my like the most exciting part as a caster is when you see a player's hand and you're like, please tell me this is pre-mulligan.
I'm assuming we already saw Kazubi mole, I believe, so I think this is pre-mole.
Okay, I think I saw some cards. Like, okay, yeah, get rid of 3 of them.
Mole. Okay.
Okay. I mean,
It's
you
not the
drew
best.
all 3 copies of the Unforgiving Cold last game. It's just, it's too much to expect to find any as you know, immediately predict into one with a Rampaging Makai.
We have to pull the Saga Seeker, right? There's no way we can keep this Unforgiving Cold or Unending Wave.
Definitely not an Ending Wave. Unforgiving Cold, maybe you take it as like a backup for later in the game, but I do think the Saga Seeker is something that can get a little out of control in a matchup like this, and maybe that is the direction that you want to play towards.
And we see the Fleet Feather Tracker coming out. Do we take this trade? No, we do not. We want to get this. We want to get Challenger on this unit.
Not only that, but with the Darken here, you know, you can get it up to a 3-2 with Tough. It doesn't actually have to trade onto the Makai, but now
We're gonna trade
throw
it
down the Petrosite Broadwing instead. This might just be a pass from Kazubi.
I think we take. Oh wow. We're gonna put Petrosite Broadwing down to 1 here. Do we actually block this? Maybe not.
Sonic kinda needs to get rolling on the Pantheon level, which it's kind of weird, right? Because it would involve equipping the Darken this turn and then shepherding the weapon off of it next turn. So I really don't mind the block here. I'm not even sure if you care to block this, to be honest, but I'd like to see the Saga Seeker come down here.
Because if we don't block this and we let this Broadwing go through, that's gonna be bad. Is if we equip the Darkened Ages onto it right now.
Yeah, it could get rough really fast. So Sonic throwing down the Saga Seeker, you know, just really drawing the wrong cultist spells in each matchup, which sounds weird to say because we thought the Frostbite was going to play out big in the previous match, but now you're getting a bunch of Spell Shield against a deck that plays very limited cards that will proc that, and that's always kind of the discussion, right? Is like, is it better to load up on these in the low interaction decks so that you always have it for their interaction, or like, do they just end up clunkier than really matters?
Yeah, we always pick Sandworm Amulet here, right? No, we went for Combat Reel.
What are you, like 0-4 on calling weapons?
I guess so. What do I know? I guess I guess I'm just a dirty aggro player. What do I know about mid-range combo decks? Absolutely nothing. We're just predicting that they have Darkened Ages in hand, which they do, to be able to block the elusive. Or not the elusive, fearsome. Sorry.
Yeah, and a pass out of Kazubi, not attaching the Darken Ages to the Fleet Feather to potentially block here, and respecting the fact that you're going up to 2 mana. Pale Cascade, momentous choice.
This is true. So yeah, actually taking Combat Reel was actually better, now that I think about it.
See, that's what they did. They stopped and thought about it.
Yeah, something I can't do. Aggro player, I play fast. I'm not like Dyna. I don't take my time. I rush down the clock. Or I just rush down the board. So we see Combat Cook coming out with Fish a Whack. Do we fish fight the... No, we don't. No, we don't fish fight Saga Seeker here.
Now do you fish fight Saga Seeker?
No, because they have... They don't know it, but we do.
I think you always attack first.
Yeah, they don't know it, but we do. They have stuff to actually stop the fish fight from killing Saga Seeker here.
Yeah, now momentous choice gonna come out.
And now this trade is actually going to be really good for the side of Sonic now. Sonic actually putting on the board now, getting the value trade.
Yeah, so, I mean, Sonic is all in on this Saga Seeker.
And we pick up
Boris-
both champions on both sides here.
Ooh. Gotta imagine that favors Kazubi given the current hand states that Quinn can get a lot done here. There's really not a lot of things left to continue to buff up the health of the Saga Seeker. We're going to see Sonic actually start weapon cycling on this unit to keep it healthy. Could even re-equip the Darkin to get it back up to 4 health. But Kazubi's going to develop units, and that's got to be worth more at this point.
Yeah. You see the Varus come out now. Does Varus... Yeah, Varus pretty much... Never mind. Actually, yeah, Varus can actually take this trade.
Yeah, Pale will put Varus up to 5 attack. I guess the question is Kazubi going to fish fight post-combat? It looks pretty safe. And then you can throw the Overwhelm weapon onto the Harpy.
Yeah, I think we're fine taking this trade here. Or not taking the trade, I'm sorry, taking the 3 damage to face. And yeah, fish fight, it does look very tempting right now. But we're not going to do it, we're just going to take the pass.
I mean, it would have just gotten an Expanse's protection out of Sonic, but of course, Kazubi not quite aware of that. And instead, it is just going to be the Darkin Aegis equipped onto the Darkin Harpy. Is it even the Darkin Harpy? Blood something Harpy?
Blood Harpy. Blood something Harpy, yep.
Just Blood Harpy.
Blood Cursed Harpy, there we go.
Ah, there we go.
That's the right name.
Look, if there was any rhyme or reason to these these card names, I'd have them down a lot better.
Representing 17 or 17. Oh my god, my math, please. Representing 14 damage on the board right now. We're gonna see the trade from the Saga Seeker. The Saga Seeker's done its job. We're good to get rid of it now.
Pantheon, on the other hand, just getting started and looking to take a block onto the Harpy, rearranging a little bit, saying, yeah, I'd like to actually get this weapon off of the Harpy, get it onto its second life already.
Wait,
you can still Pale to trade on both units.
Yeah, we Pale here. Nothing to really kill the duelist. Oh, we just want to take that. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, there's no Sharp Sight in this list from Kazubi, so nothing to buff up the Help by 2, but of course there's the one of Catch that might have made the math a little bit awkward, but not gonna happen. Darkin Harpy gonna obliterate its weapon, and back to combat on Kazubi's side, but things not looking quite as good this time around. Can still send in the Darkin Harpy to trade for one of these champions, and, you know, you might as well.
I think we don't... We just take the 6 damage here. We're perfectly fine matching Kazubi's health right now. We want to value our champions.
Yeah, and I'm actually a little surprised to not see Kazubi re-equip a Darkin Aegis just to get this up to a 7/5 with Tough, so that Sonic didn't even really have the option of offering up one of the champions as a trade.
Yeah. Sonic debating on whether... And he wants to take the block!
We might see more proactive uses of the cultist spells in the following turns to tutor up the second Varus. But it's an option, not a guarantee.
Do we... Oh no, that was a regularly drawn Varus too. Yeah.
It kind of sucks that you can do that, huh?
Yeah. So coming out, we get Unforgiving Cold and Laurent Duelist. Laurent Duelist not really going to do a ton for Kazubi. It's going to be able.
But that Frostbite spell is going to be really big here, Hirsch.
Yeah. It's looking like Sonic's actually in a really good state right now. We have no board on the side of Kazubi, and Sonic's perfectly okay with that. We're flipping the Pantheon. Do we actually hit elusive this time?
I've never seen that keyword in my life, and honestly, Sonic has enough elusive in the lineup.
And we hit elusive!
All right.
We hit elusive, quick attack, augment, lifesteal, and spell shield. We're actually in a fantastic spot right now on Sonic. I think that actually might be the game.
Not
Not
actually.
yet, not yet, but like this is pretty much
This is getting close for sure.
because there's no way to really deal with this Pantheon now.
No, you'd have to win around it, which I think I see lifesteal at the end of it there, right next to the elusive. So
Yeah, that
really
is
dragging it
lifesteal.
out of the way is not going to be an option here.
But yeah, we have unforgiving cold to stall at the next turn. What could is there anything that Kazubi could draw that could actually save him right now?
No. I'm like looking at the list. I'm pretty sure it's no. Not a lifesteal Pantheon. Not with Sonic already this high. You're not really in a position to sort of burst them down from 17.
Oh, we
especially
get Cycle
Sonic
Rake!
is getting Rake for lethal.
That is
unless
the game.
did Kazubi target the? Oh, he didn't put it on the Pantheon.
Oh, why? What are you afraid of, Sonic? And we don't go for Upcycle Rake either.
Yeah, saying, you know what? I already chose not to put it on the Pantheon. I don't have the mana to put to re-equip and rearrange my weapons, so I guess I'm going for the quick attack to make for a stronger Shepherd. And now we're just going to unequip the weapon anyway and go up to 11 attack on the Pantheon with the support. So Fish Fight comes out to stop the support, and there's no impact on the Pantheon for probably the first time all night, which means Kazubi is going to live at 1.
Oh, what were we afraid of? Why didn't we put Rake on
I don't know why we equipped a weapon onto Pantheon before playing the Shepherd.
This is
But
also true.
it's not a punish. You know, Sonic, like we mentioned, cannot burst, or Kazubi rather, cannot burst down from 20. And so even pulling this Pantheon to the front of the line, the end of the line, it really doesn't matter in a situation like this. It is just going to be lethal for Sonic on the following turn. The Frostbite spell guarantees it. We are going to a game 3 here in set number 4.
So what do we have left? We have Vayne Quinn versus Vayne Quinn, right?
No, Vayne Quinn versus
no,
Ari
yes.
Elusives.
Yep. So that should actually... This is actually going in favor for Sonic right now. Sonic's in a comfortable position.
Yeah, you have to imagine that this is the lineup that they were looking to play against with their Elusives and this Varus Pantheon. And they found it. And yeah, Kazubi, you know, it might take a couple of seconds here, but once they kind of take stock of the board, the position that they're in, they're going to realize that you cannot get through the 29 Nexus health that Sonic Hulk is currently representing. And you have no way to stop the lethal, no main deck sharp sight, and even if you did, Pantheon still has Overwhelm.
Yeah, Kazubi trying to figure out how he can get out of here, but there's just no way for him.
Patience makes perfect.
He's probably just thinking how he's going to play next game right now. How he's just going to try to figure out how he's going to figure out how to beat this Ari deck.
Yeah, I guess just mathing it through. You know, you might as well take your time. It's not like you're in a rush or anything.
We see.
Okay, we find a way to kill the Varus, but
what next?
killing Varus is not quite the same as killing the Nexus, or maybe actually, can we kill Pantheon here? Well, we can kill Pantheon, but we can't kill Varus.
No, we can't kill Pantheon because Pantheon's actually no, we can. He has no mana. He's tapped out.
Yes, you can just you can double challenge the Pantheon to kill it, but you can't kill Varus as well.
We have catch. What?
That's not enough though, right? That's one shy.
No, catch kills the Pantheon.
It doesn't kill Varus though, right?
No, it does not kill Varus here.
Yeah, and that is the issue.
I feel like there's even still there's still nothing to get through to this Pantheon or get through to this Varus right now.
No, and with the spell shield available at the start of the next round, thanks to the Expanse's protection, there is nothing that Kazubi's going to be able to draw either, even if they did have some kind of fast speed interaction.
The only fast speed interaction they run in this deck is Condemn, and that's just going to be the game now.
Yep, preemptively do it just in case there's some kind of something that we missed in the deck, and that is going to take us to game number 3.
So with going to game 3 right now, what's the ideal hand we want for this RE deck right now? We definitely want the Omen Hawk to start off with. We want Vestayan Disciple, and I don't even think we want Ari to start off with.
You know, it's a little funny to see Omen Hawk in a deck of things that bounce themselves. Like, Droplet wants to get bounced, Mourn is going to bounce itself, Disciple is going to turn back into a unit. You have to Navori Conspirator something, which I guess that is the point of the Omen Hawk, right? Is like you can kind of juggle it with Ari and the Conspirator, but we do see the Omen Hawk and we do see the Conspirator. So the super classic beta elusive opener.
Oh man, Sonic is just happy right now just to see this hand, and we're having a rough start on Kazubi's side.
Now, Hirsch, I know you weren't around in the Foundations days, but let me tell you, Navori Conspirator used to be, was it a 3-3 or a 3-2? I know it had 3 attack, and I'm pretty sure it was a 3-2, but it could have been a 3-3 if I'm being honest.
Jeez. So we're gonna see the Conspirator drop down just to cycle this Omen Hawk now that we know that Kazubi doesn't have much of a board to start off with. Now he drops the Broadwing, or Petricite Broadwing.
Honestly, a fair amount of challengers on the side of Kazubi is going to make this a bit of a game, but depending on what this double Omen Hawk buff gets onto, things could get a little bit awkward. Sonic not willing to throw it down just yet, which, you know, it doesn't really matter, right? You're not replaying the Omen Hawk anytime soon. You still have 3 mana worth of elusives to play on the following turn, and actually to hit a Shadow Assassin.
I think we do it. We rip it now just to get the Green Glade Duo up to 4-1.
Yeah, that would be, what, 7 elusive damage coming in at Kazubi this turn?
6.
I'm thinking if you play the Droplet as well.
Oh. Well, I mean, we actually can do that too.
Yeah. Kazubi on the other side, though, picks up the Darken Harp and, you know, has Blinding Assault. So you have the option to get this 4-attack Scout Quick Attack Challenger, which normally I think would basically be game over for Sonic, but we do have that that stun spell in our hand, that Concussive Palm, that'll probably buy enough time to just push through the remainder, but actually it's going to be a Droplet draw here, so a little bit less damage pushed, but another card drawn, and it is just another Droplet.
So that is a 2/2 Droplet in hand right now.
Yeah.
Because the Navori or Shadow Assassin's a 3/2 right now, and the Droplet's a 2/2. So yeah, we're actually pretty solid right now. We're sitting comfortably.
I think Vayne does help out Kazubi a lot, though. Like, yeah, you are going to get stunned on the next turn when you try to go for this Darken Harp plus Valor, but after that, you are going to be able to tumble the Valor, unless that is Sonic actually just uses a Twin Discipline to trade back onto the Valor instead of even bothering to stun it.
We're going to see the Darken Harp come out on this Valor here, I imagine, just to be able to trade down here. We have to get rid of this board. Kazubi needs to clear out these elusives.
Luckily for Kazubi, I think Sonic wants to use the tail. I guess it doesn't really matter.
Do we just Concussive here? Yeah, we just Concussive here.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty big as well because it's going to protect the Green Glade Duo from this Petricite Broadwing, in the sense that it is no longer a good trade, so to speak, for Kazubi. You know, you would end up trading the 2 units, but there are a lot of 1-drops in hand for Sonic. This duo could get really big next turn, and that is why Kazubi is actually going to pull it back and say, you know what, I can't really play for board here. I'm down to 13 already. I know there's another Droplet in hand. I just have to take this trade.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what can we do to get rid of this Conspirator? Because we're now taking 5, 7, 8 elusive damage right now.
And a Nopify top deck for Sonic. That'll turn off either the Tumble or a 1-mana Condemn.
It has to take out the tumble. We don't want this our Valor to swing right now. And we draw the Ari too.
Cool. Oh, if we can recycle this concussive Palm Hirsch.
Oh man, that's massive. So we're now we see the tumble come out. I imagine the Nopify is going to respond to this.
I'm actually kind of curious, given the very small amount of interaction in Kazubi's deck. You could actually let this go through and then just twin discipline one of your units and block it. It is a little risky, though. The Nopify definitely a safer play, as well as, you know, sort of resetting the mana value of the tumble for the following turns. It's going to be 5 pushed in to Kazubi's Nexus, and they are really starting to lose their grip on the game here. But finally, we are going to get a turn to attack with the Valor. But if that Twin Discipline comes out, if Sonic calls the bluff, this is a disaster for Kazubi.
This turn is absolutely crucial for the game right now. If Sonic is able to win this, we are going to go to a set 5 too.
Okay, Harpy, very aggressive for Kazubi. Unfortunately, you know, like no overwhelm weapon or something available in hand, but I guess you'll take the tough.
So we throw out the Valor,
Oh.
we challenge a unit, we throw out the Blood Harpy.
But the Navori Conspirator top deck Hirsch, you can recycle the Palm.
Oh, this is true. That's actually might be the game right now. We're not going to be able to proc Condemn. But yeah, dropping the Conspirator right now actually is massive for Sonic. So it looks like we're going to go to set 5. Simon's actually going to have to save the day for TA Mind Splitters now.
Which, you know, being on the same lineup as Methodical, at least there'll be a quick one. One way or another, we've got some pretty aggressive decks on the side of both players.
I'm just trying to think. What do you want for? We ban we don't ban Pantheon Varus on Simon's lineup here. Oh wait, we actually didn't opt to cycle the concussive palm here. We're just gonna take this. We twin disciplined here. We kill the Valor, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all she wrote. But I would assume, since we're going into Simon here, that Simon wants to ban either this RE deck or this Bandle City Targon deck as well.
I'm going to take a look at this Bandle City Targon, see if it is the Sparklefly version. It is not, which, you know, I'm not actually very familiar with, like, aggro versus elusives. Generally, in the olden days, aggro was outracing elusives, but not by a whole lot.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna struggle. I think honestly, Annie Jin could pull out the win against it, but I would assume that we're gonna ban the Annie Jin here.
It's usually the go-to ban in the triple aggro lineups.
It's just such a volatile deck.
And another draw off the Conspirator. This time going to get another Omen Hawk. A couple of attacks go in, but honestly, Sonic is fine to just take all of the damage here, go down to 3.
Well, wait, we did proc Condemn now.
Yeah, so we can take out one of the elusives, but I believe we still have exactly 8 elusive damage on the side of Sonic Hawk.
I still think that Droplet is also 2/2 as well.
Yeah, actually that does mean it's only 7, but there's the Meditate in hand. That is assuming Kazubi uses the Condemn here. Not that it super matters, I guess. Might as well use it now, but you know, would have the mana to pay the full 6 on the next turn, and it really doesn't have anything else to do with the mana in combat.
So yeah, on open, Kazubi is done for. Kazubi has no interaction. He played his only fast speed spell.
Another Droplet.
Do we play it for the memes?
You open yourself up to fish fight, but I think the meditate still gives you lethal actually, meditate, if your opponent has 2 fish fight, it is better to just open attack and throw out the meditate here. Your opponent only plays
Yeah.
1 condemn. That is out of the way. Of course, there is a Vayne on field, so you do have to be cognizant of the Vayne's condemn. So this is a little risky from Sonic.
This is also true, yes.
And Sonic, you have to imagine that he's going to preemptively fire off the meditate. You really can't afford to just drop your opponent to 2 when they can tumble the Harpy for a scout attack on this turn. You're out of draw power. You're out of gas at this point. Yeah, it is going to be the preemptive, I guess, Wuju style. I thought it was, oh, I guess meditate's the second half of it. Whatever, man.
Same thing. And we are going to go to a set 5. What a way to start off this this team kill match. It's absolutely massive, but stay tuned. We'll get right into it. We're going on a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Esports LOR round of 16 playoffs, the first ever team kill match, TA Boomers versus TA Mind Splitters. I've said that 5 times now. That's because we're in the final match. It is do or die at this point. Simon has to clutch up in order to win for TA Mind Splitters, and the same goes for Sonic as well. Boulevard, I know this is my first cast, and thank you for being here with me. How do you feel about this match and how it's gone so far?
So far, I feel like it's gone, I would say, fairly close to how we expected it to, right? It seems like Kazubi came in to take out the control lineup that the Mind Splitters were very worried about. It worked, and then Kazubi kind of stepped off. Game 5 was not out of the question between these two teams, and because it is a team kill, this is exactly what you wanted to see, right? But now we get into this interesting situation where it's 10 p.m. here on the East Coast. I mean, it's probably like 3:30 a.m. there in Europe. And guess what? Both these players are European.
Oh yeah, but as far as I know, Simon's always playing in G-Gen hours. He's always all about that. He plays in a ton of Mystic Shot tournaments. He plays in pretty much a lot of America's tournaments. So this is nothing new for Simon.
No, and Sonic, I know Sonic will play the weekend tournaments, but I don't know that he's playing the weeknight tournaments as often. He might be a little bit more tired. But this is essentially just going to be elusive aggro versus burn aggro, is what we're expecting once the bans all kind of play out here. You had mentioned that maybe you think Sonic's Pantheon Varus is going to be left open instead, but let's take a look at the Draven Jinx that we haven't seen since Methodical played it in the first 2 sets.
So going back to when this was actually meta before Jinx got or Draven became a 3-2 and discard aggro just completely fell off the face of the earth. Now that Jinx is buffed, we are back in the game. We have so much more utility for this deck. We have Fallen Rider for discard value. We have Flame Choppers as always. We have House Spiders, crowd favorite, just stuff to go wide, dump the whole hand, go wide, and say, "Hey, I have a big elusive unit. What you gonna do about it, man?" And the interesting option is that we as we discussed earlier, we decided not to tech into Decimate now. We're now into Get Excited now. We're more focused on closing out the game just by having a wide board.
You know, one thing that I guess you could call I don't even know how much of a debate this is amongst the discard aggro players, but something that at least used to be a bit of a debate back in the day is Legion Rearguard. You know, with this card as a 3/2, you are a go wide aggro deck. I think it's pretty fair to call it that way. So the lack of that card in a list like this, in a meta where the Rearguard is really a defining factor for a lot of matchups, it is a little surprising not to see it in here. Also, Flame Chompers over Boom Baboon, you know, valuing the immediate discard rather than the sort of value that you're getting out of this more long-term unit. And this is really the first time that we've gotten to see Fallen Rider in full swing here in the discard aggro, because it wasn't really the Draven nerf that took Draven Jinx out of the meta. It was the release of Scion completely taking over not just the Draven archetype, but the Piltovers on Noxus region combination as a whole. So we never really got to see the Fallen Riders and the Boom Baboons fit into this list before it was pushed out by that more powerful champion.
And now since Boom Baboon is now a 2-1 instead of a 3-1, it even hurts it even more.
Yeah, just, you know, valuing, yeah, I want to get this Flame Chompers down immediately. I don't want to have to play out this other stupid 2-1 to get my Flame Chompers online. And there are situations where we see that be bad. There are situations where we see it be good. Going to come down to which one happens more often in this final match of the night.
And going into the matchup draft now, we see Simon running the same full lineup as Methodical as we said before, and we see Sonic playing the same lineup that we just saw before. If I was Simon, I want to get rid of this Ari deck. I don't like the idea of seeing big elusive units on the board. That's what aggro decks are afraid of. We don't want to race. We want to be in a comfortable spot here.
I guess the question is, what is scary to you? Is it the Ari elusives or is it the Teemo elusives? Because a lot of the followers in the Ari deck only have 1 health. In fact, literally every unit in this deck has 1 health other than Navori Conspirator and Ari, which means it's pretty susceptible to the Rocket. Everything in this deck has base attack of 2 or less, so it is susceptible to the fearsome of your Spider aggro. Yes, Spirits Unleash completely blows all of that out of the water, and that is, I think, the big defining factor in making this a potential ban.
I think we're afraid of the Ari deck because it's able to stack up more damage, like with the Omen Hawk being able to proc on the elusive units, making them bigger, being able to cycle through that with the Conspirator. Uh, what else? We have Green Glade Duo that's even able to take more advantage of it, and we see the Ari ban come through, and the Annie Jin ban on Simon as well.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it much, but the Anti-Jin is really the expected ban in pretty much any given triple aggro lineup that you run into. Ever since Pirates took a couple of nerfs, Anti-Jin has been really the only standout pure aggro deck, I think as people would call it, as most people classify Red Gwen a little bit more on the mid-range side of things. So yeah, the Spider aggro and the Jinx Draven, they're sort of the more off-the-wall decks. It's more expected. You're going to leave those open. The Anti-Jin, sort of the known factor, the more powerful one. But now it's going to come down to, can you outrace these elusives? Can you outrace this Varus Pantheon before Pantheon gets online, rolls Lifesteal or something like that? Because the Overwhelm Lifesteal combination does mean you can never dodge it with Noxian Fervor.
Absolutely. And you definitely don't want to take out the Pantheon Varus deck, because if they don't, my point of view as an aggro player, if they don't drop Saga Seeker on one, you're literally just chilling the whole game pretty much. You're in a fantastic spot.
I am gonna have to take your word for it, as again, not an aggro player myself, but as I'm closing out the links of the decks that we're not going to be seeing this evening. Do you have any preference on which deck is queued up first? Do you think that one of these has a better matchup into Sonic's lineup, either the Spiders or the Jinx Draven, to get that sort of free win, get the ball rolling?
If I was Sonic, I would probably queue up the Bandle City Targon Elusives, and just to get the ball rolling faster, we want to build up that fast board. We want to be able to have that clear. I think Draven Jinx is the way to go into that, because we'll most likely be able to clear the whole board off of that if we get Jinx to flip early.
All right, and we are just waiting for the players to get into game. It is late over there in Europe. Maybe our message is taking a little bit longer to send, everything like that. But again, thank you to Runeterra AR for that deck highlight that we saw just a few moments ago. And now it all comes down to this: TA Sonicaholic versus TA Salty Simon, formerly known as Team REO, in parentheses, not a team.
So
Gonna be a good one.
just to give an update on the other side of the brackets here, we have already a match that's been finished. We have Omega CE taking on Broken Wombats in the quarterfinals. Broken Wombats 3-0ing the other kill match in the bracket against Wombats Tempo. We have Omega CE going 3-1 into Church of Tempo. We have Bass Pro Shop up 2-0 on Beautiful Gamers. We have Red Pup Scarlet going into Game 5 against Shikate. We have Team Keg Gaming against ABG Targon going into Game 5 as well. Targon's Valley in TA Discipline into Game 5. Puffcap Peddlers taking the 3-0 against the Passaways. And then, of course, our match, which is in Game 5 as well. So a lot of spicy matches coming out so far right now.
But none of them are quite as spicy as the one as we are about to see. Very old school Legends of Runeterra at work here. The elusives up against the aggro, and kind of ignore the fact that Varus and Targon didn't exist at the start of Runeterra. Actually, ignore the fact that Bandle City Targon didn't exist at the start of Runeterra either.
This is also true, and we should be getting into the game in the next couple seconds here.
Yeah, I've run out of stuff to talk about, man. This is Game 5. We've already seen this lineup. There we go.
And
we are
we're
getting into the
in.
game.
And we see Spiders going against. Oh, wow, I'm just gonna miss everything today, I guess. What do I know?
And I was gonna say, for the 12th time tonight, I really hope that's a pre-mulligan hand on the side of Simon, and it was, finding a few more 1-drops here in the opener. Of course, still getting back the Arachnoid Horror and the Stalking Shadows.
And we're also sitting on a Decimate. We're sitting pretty on the side of Simon right now.
In position. Behind ya.
Being able to deal 3 damage. They don't have any 1-drops on 1. Simon is in the clear.
Yeah, that Pantheon. Ooh, the top deck Pantheon as well. That boy never gonna level.
Oh no, not at all.
I think we are looking currently, depending on the top deck here, at the absolute earliest, like a turn
I know where
9 level up or something.
And just being able to just jam this Elise with the Precious Pet, we have to drop the Wandering Shepherd here. There's absolutely no reason not to. We can't afford to take any more damage right now. If we allow this 3, 6, 9, if we allow this 11 damage to go through, that's pretty much game right now. We're sitting on lethal.
Yeah, actually, unironically sitting on lethal and Sonic. I guess just debating if they're more willing to sacrifice the Shepherd or the Eula at this point. But I think the Shepherd is the correct call. Gonna get the tough weapon.
And we're coming out with the full swing here.
Hey, stop that.
You know, this is pretty nice. It is going to let you preserve a unit. You have a follow-up sort of target on the next turn with the Eula if you really want it. Maybe you throw down the Pantheon instead, but you've got the Unforgiving Cold online. You've got a few options. The problem, of course, being that there's still 6 damage worth of burn in Salty Simon's hand. And you preserved a blocker. There's still quite a few attackers left for Simon to throw down, but it might actually just be a full pass from Simon on this turn. No real appealing plays here with a handful of Nightfall.
Not really. No, I mean you can rip the Stalking Shadows, and that's about it. Prep for next turn. Maybe draw another Doom Beast here.
The dead do not want us to mourn, but live.
We see the Elila coming out for Eula. Sorry, can't speak either. But we're gonna see the Doom Beast come out here.
Yeah.
Pretty much push lethal for the game.
We are going to get a Furious Wielder, which actually means that Sonic...
Actually, Sonic does live here. A few Furious Wielders here because
Yeah.
we have Unforgiving Cold too.
You have to wielder the Saboteur, and then you can Unforgiving Cold, double block, only take 1 next turn. Decimate puts you at 1, so...
And we're risking it here.
I mean, the turn's not over yet. Sonic does have to wielder this Saboteur, or it will be game over in a couple of turns.
Yeah, there it is.
Of course, Simon can still draw a unit, and if it is one that pushes damage, we'll kind of see where the night takes us. Legion Rearguard, not the best top deck, but...
It's still
Oh,
gonna
and
be.
Sonic draws a 1-mana unit so they can develop a blocker and play the Unforgiving Cold.
Sonic is holding on to his dear life right now.
But the fact that you are losing... Oh, gonna have to rearrange this after the Cold comes out, unless we're going for a Wielder, in which case we are dead to Decimate on the next turn.
We have to commit the Unforgiving Cold right now just to see what's going to be hit. It could be any of the 3/2s right now and have to rearrange. Yeah.
No, it's not gonna be the Rearguard because it's a 1 cost, but...
Oh, this is true. Yes, it's cost priority.
Yeah, you gotta rearrange these blocks here. Yep, that is gonna let you live at 5. A little bit more. Problem is, you don't have any more units. You don't have any more Frostbite. And Simon still has units. And a little bit of refuel on those units for the next turn as well. Legion Rearguard top deck, absolutely perfect. And Sonic, Pantheon's getting up there, but it's not super close.
It still doesn't matter. We still have lethal here.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a quick game 1 going over to Simon right now. Simon doesn't even care about this Pantheon swinging. We just let it hit. Who cares?
Because if I'm correct, I might not be if I'm being honest, but I believe this Pantheon is only at 3 out of 5, and we draw Noxian Fervor anyway in case it does somehow level, roll Lifesteal, and throw out the Furious Wielder.
And we still have still have mana for Decimate and Noxian Fervor if some miracle were to happen.
Yeah, I guess Sonic can throw out the... I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? You either develop a blocker or you stun a unit. Either way, it's more or less the same thing, and it's just going to be a surrender out of Sonic Hall.
See, I told you. No Saga Seeker on 1, easy win.
Easy win, like you said. Blowing through it so far here, Hirsch.
And we're going to see Simon's Draven Jinx come out now. I
know that Simon was really big on that deck going into the qualifiers. Ice-T was in my ear about it all weekend, how Simon was in his ear all week, like, no, actually, Jinx Draven wins this matchup, wins that matchup. I'm actually going to check to see if Simon even brought it to the qualifiers, because I know there was someone that, like, talked up a deck really big and then just did not bring it, but Simon, usually a man of his word.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he didn't. I had conversations with him. I told him, hey, represent us aggro people out there, man.
Oh, yeah, he brought triple aggro to the qualifiers. If you count Red Gwen as aggro for those purposes.
I mean, it kind of is. but for the most part, I would say it is, even though it's not really classified as one.
Yeah,
And we see.
like
Go
there's
ahead.
weird classifications when we talk about things in Legends of Runeterra, right? And I used to try to like simplify it to be like, okay, if it plays Flock, it's a control deck, and now all of a sudden like Red Gwen's running Flock, and I'm like, okay, that is not a control deck.
And then we have the Swain decks that are fake aggro decks,
Oh
like
yeah,
MF Swain.
Fallen Rider kept in the opener from Simon.
And we have the great turn 1 opener. Opting not to drop the Flame Choppers. But
Yeah, setting up
it
the
doesn't
Fallen
matter.
Rider on 2 with the attack token.
It doesn't
Risen
matter
Rider.
because we also got another Urchin to drop it down too.
Yeah. Things actually looking really strong for this crowd favorite here from Salty, even though there are no House Spiders in the opener. And the jury ready to go 5 wide.
This is wild. This is gonna be a quick game. I can already see it now.
Oh, thank goodness.
So Urchin's gonna drop, take the Flame Choppers with it.
Why
And
didn't
we
you guys
get the
just
House
start off
Spider!
with Salty Simon, man? Look at this kid. How does he do it?
He's an aggro legend. So we take the 3 damage. We don't care about it. We're gonna go 5 wide here. We're gonna drop this crowd favorite, and pretty much Sonic is gonna be like, what do I do now?
Yeah, 7-6 Viseed coming in big. There is the Unforgiving Cold in the hand of Sonic. They also have a 2-mana unit to develop as a blocker if they see fit. Or you could play the Pantheon, you know, throw out that barrier blocker, kind of see where the night takes you.
If you drop Pantheon, you're pulling it with Flame Choppers, 100%.
Yeah, it's looking kind of rough for Sonic, no matter what they want to do. And even, yeah, you know, like you could Frostbite the Viseed this turn. It's a really cool thing about big units, Hirsch. They're still there next turn.
This is true. I think in order to stall this out, we have to drop the Forgiving Cold. There's no doubt about it. We Unforgiving Cold. We pull the Lunari Cultist here. Oh, we're just gonna opt to drop the Lodestone. Just to add that Fearsome blocker now.
And we actually will trade onto the Risen Rider that is going to be hit by the Unforgiving Cold as well. So only 5 damage going to get pushed through here. And you take the Fearsome unit off the board.
Hey, stop that.
Oh, okay. We're thinking about leaving it around.
We want to preserve as much health as possible. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Only
This
taking.
also does progress towards the Pantheon level up, which I think is pretty important to mention.
So Pantheon is 3? Or 2?
I think 2. I think it was just turns 3 and 4.
I think we drop another Lunari Cultist here. Just to be able to develop another blocker here.
I'm armed. Am I armed?
So we're just gonna swing glide here.
All right.
We see crowd favorite gonna step out for the block.
Ooh.
The crowd
Crowd's gonna come
favorite
out.
is going away now. This is actually going to be able to swing tempo back on Sonic's side. He's going to be able to stabilize a little bit here.
A little bit, but Sonic is going to be down to 3 mana, no units, 1 blocker available. Actually 2, as we are going to Guiding Touch our unit here. And top deck a 1-drop on the side of Sonic Holic.
But is it too late? And we're going to see the...
Get excited. Salty can go 6 wide here if you choose to skip on the Zonite Urchin and throw it down.
This is absolutely wild.
No Fearsome blocker on the side of Sonic, though. We cannot gem in combat. It is focus speed. This isn't going to be... Oh, and we top deck an unplayable card, so we can't level Jinx.
Oh, man. I honestly don't think it matters at this point.
It probably doesn't, but if there was any way to save this game, it was Simon not being able to level Jinx this turn, on top of Sonic top decking a way to be able to block the Fearsome here. Down to 5. We're not dead to a single rocket. And it's just more time to build up for this Pantheon. Honestly, if Pantheon can roll lifesteal here, I think Sonic might be able to come back into it. Granted, you would have to play the Pantheon, gem it, and then next turn, you would be able to level it up.
So actually, confirmation, Pantheon flips on drop right now. Pantheon is at 4 or 5.
Well, we already targeted this turn.
Oh, this is true, yes. Well, we're opting to drop the Varus. We're setting up for the OTK here. I don't. Can we even OTK?
Honestly, maybe.
Jinx is gonna flip here.
Say Jace.
I meant to say Jinx.
Oh, okay. I was like, what
I
chain are you looking at? I'm thinking Jace.
I feel like I said Jinx, but it didn't come out like that. We're hitting the lottery. Do we hit elusive and lifesteal? We do not. We hit elusive, but not lifesteal.
Is it still enough? I mean, Varus is getting big. Pantheon, not a small unit either.
We have the blocker for Pantheon now.
Yeah, and it looks like Simon gonna hold back on that rocket just for a second here. No challenger on the Pantheon either. Does mean if Sonic doesn't pick it up here, Simon will have the opportunity to get another rocket on the next turn.
See, we're pushing 7.
Oh, it's not even a blocker. That Pantheon is fearsome.
Oh, this is true. I didn't even see the fearsome. So we are pushing 11 damage straight up right now with no blockers.
If we equip a weapon to Pantheon, that's +3 attack on him, +2 attack on Varus. That's what, 16? And I think that's where the road stops. I think the only chance or rather the best chance for Sonic to win is to Pale Cascade into a momentous choice, and I think that's really the only way you get it done. I do not think the current hand does it.
And we're going to combat real here instead.
Oh, and maybe if you Pale in combat, but Sonic can declare no blocks. So you're counting on Sonic to block so that you can Pale in combat. And that might do it? Oh, is that impact? Oh, I didn't see the impact on the Pantheon.
It's still not lethal, though.
No, it is with the Pale because of the reel.
Oh, this
Right?
is true.
Well, or rather, well, I guess not with the Jinx blocking. Yeah, that's only +3 attack. That only gets us up to 16.
Oh, man, we were
And
so
then
close.
there's no second rocket, but it doesn't matter. Simon's 5 wide.
Simon's going to go 6 wide this turn. He's going to drop the other elusive Poro.
Yeah. I just want to point out for the folks at home, man, why can't these casters see these Pantheon keywords? What is wrong with them? The stream went to like 1080, or not 1080, sorry, 180p for us for a second there. It's hard to make out these keywords through that, okay?
I should have pointed it out because I have I have Sonic's POV on my laptop to my left, so I could see it clearly.
All right, I have an excuse.
I don't. So I'm sorry.
Okay, Furious Wielder top decked for Sonic, and honestly, if they top deck an Unforgiving Cold, I think they live. But it has to be drawn here, can't be drawn later. Furious Wielder, that is not gonna be enough.
Wait,
That is only
we still
4
have a chance.
units not getting through. It only takes 1. Sonicolic and Team TA Boomers gonna be eliminated here from the round of 16 by TA Mindsplitters.
Can we draw from Unending Spirit? Or
Not even if you draw the Unforgiving Cold off the Unending Spirit, you won't have mana to play anything else, so you're still only taking 2 attackers off the board.
This is true. So yeah, this is the end of the line for TA Boomers. TA Mindsplitter going on to the second round against Puff Cat Peddlers. What a wild match this has been tonight.
Oh, should have just started Simon from the get-go, man. He's a great closer. Gotta give it to him. Great closer.
Simon's always got to be the secret weapon, because if he goes on too long, he'll end up tilting. Congratulations to TA Mindsplitters We are going to cut to a short break and cut back into an interview right after this. So sit tight. We'll be back in just a couple seconds here. Welcome back, everybody. We have just concluded our first ever on-stream team kill match against TA Boomers versus TA Mindsplitters. TA Mindsplitters going to a set 5, taking the win 3-2 with their secret weapon, Salty Simon, coming in for the clutch, coming in for the cleanup. How are you doing, Mr. Salty Simon?
I'm doing great. I mean, I knew we were gonna win before we started, so it's not unexpected.
So
I feel great.
What was your plan coming into this match?
Aggro. What do you mean? Do you mean like my match against Sonic or the set itself?
Just your planning for the set itself.
When you say set, do you mean match or my set against Sonic?
The whole thing in general.
The whole best of 5.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. No, because you Americans use weird words, so it's hard sometimes. So we decided that one aggro is kind of just solid to have because people are always gonna try and beat control with some weird shit, and then aggro is just solid. And then we wanted one person to always beat anti-aggro decks, so that you can always flip that. So if you win one or you lose one, then you guarantee another win. And then the third deck was probably also gonna be either some just solid build, or we ended up going to double aggro for some reason. I think I convinced them aggro was good in scrims.
So Simon, why'd you come in last? Why were you the ringer of the set? Why weren't you the one leading it off if you were playing the same lineup as Methodical?
Well, the goal was like this, because we kinda had an idea they might start with Sir Termund, because we have two of the same lineup, so they could kind of know we're gonna start with one of them. And then we decided, because I'm much more knowledgeable when it comes to aggro and feel more comfortable playing it than Math, we decided to kind of sacrifice him. But then I ended up winning against 4W, so that was perfect.
Fair enough. How did you feel about actually getting pinned up against an all kill match in just the first round of playoffs?
My what?
How did you feel about getting picked for TA Boomers?
I don't know what they were smoking. Like, they're idiots. Why did they think they were gonna win? I didn't know they picked us. I don't really know how the system works, but
so the way it worked is like we did a Marvel stream for pick order for seeding, and TA Boomers put you guys as their 5th pick.
Oh, 5th pick. Oh, but that's pretty low.
Yeah, they even put BPS below you guys.
Yeah, but that's understandable. We're gonna win it all.
So I do want to ask, Simon, you've been pretty big on aggro for most of the season, right? You ran aggro back into WCQ. Is there any reason that you think that like no one else is picking up on this? Do you just have it figured out and they don't, like always?
Yeah, I think so. I think people just don't understand that Discord aggro is the best deck in the game. Which makes the lineup a lot easier because a lot of lineups have to ban any Yin, which is the worst aggro deck by far. But it's just really, really good against the decks that loses to aggro. So you have to ban it, and then you have like a free win with Discord aggro, and then you just have one solid aggro deck that just cleans up no matter what. And I think overall it's just solid in the meta. The control decks are kind of bad. Like as we saw, Math misplayed a bit against FTR, and he would have won with Spiders, which is like anyone who's played lore for a while knows that FTR should never lose to Spiders, but right now it's not really in a good spot. So I don't think it's that easy to counter aggro without playing really bad decks.
Is there any advice you want to give to the viewers at home about how like they should be going into prepping
Shut
for
the
matches?
fuck up, Twitch chat. You're idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. Just listen. That's all. I don't know. Bro, I hate Twitch chat. I'm not gonna lie. This fucking trivia, fuck. I'm not gonna curse, but fuck me. They are idiots. I hate them so much with a passion. Can they just look and learn instead of talking, please? It's gonna work out. I promise.
That's
no,
that's
but
all for me, Hirsch. I don't know if you have any more questions for Simon.
Is there any shout outs you want to give to anybody, Simon?
my team. They did stuff.
That's a
And
good one.
how do
That's
you?
about it.
Last question: how do you feel about going against Puffcat Peddlers in the next round now?
Oh, they won?
Yes, they won. They won 3-0.
Wait, they played against T. Oh, of course they won. TTG sucks. Wait, 3-0?
Yes, they 3.
How do you go
Castaways.
3-0 in this format? That should be impossible.
They 3-0 against
Wait,
Castaways. They
Do you know the
besides
lineup?
tell you in 2 seconds here.
That's literally that shouldn't be plausible to happen.
So Prodigy brought Kaisa Siver, Trundle Vi, Elise, Gwen, Katarina. Tankbuster brought Elise, Gwen, Katarina, Kane Vane, Ezreal Seraphine, and Prism Sword brought
Right.
Aphelios, Aesol, Diana, Nora Vigar, and Seraphine Victor.
And the lineup that won 3-0 was what?
Kane Vane, Gangplank Sejuani, Elise, Gwen, Katarina from Ace.
Okay. I mean, that makes more sense. That's like a well-rounded lineup, I guess. That makes sense. No, I'm kind of excited. I think we lost 2-1 against them when we played against in the groups. I think we played it. No, we played against them around 3 times, right? And I think we lost against them twice and beat them once. It would be nice to get the rematch when it matters the most. I'm excited.
I like the confidence.
Anything else from you?
I mean,
Boulevard?
like if you're not confident, what are you doing?
Fair enough. Anything else from you, Boulevard?
No, that is all. Simon, you have been a pleasure to interview as always. Definitely one of my favorite players to get up here with.
Alrighty. Thank you guys for coming in here. Thank you for having me as my first time caster. Thank you for being here with me today, Boulevard. It's been a blast. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow to a different interesting format. EMEA will have their play-ins tomorrow, whereas AM didn't have play-ins. Play-ins will consist of a triple round robin collaborative set. So we will be streaming coverage of that all day tomorrow with Andy and any more casting that tomorrow. So don't forget to don't miss out on that. Sorry, don't. Anyways, have a fantastic night. You guys have been awesome. Thank you. Stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll see you next time.